What? The Angry Chicken Hearthstone podcast is produced by amove.tv. Check out amove TV for more podcasts covering Blizzard games. For more of Jocelyn's gaming podcasts, visit jossplays.com. And to find many more podcasts with Ridiculous Hat, follow @RidiculousHat on Twitter. Every episode of TAC is made possible thanks to our legendary patrons over at patreon.com/TAC.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Legendary!
You beast Jaraxxus! You smell like a leper gnome! I knew it! So hot!
A podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is indeed TAC, or as you can refer to us during the reveal season, the Angry Footman. I'm Garrett, here as always, with Jocelyn and Ridiculous Hat. Welcome back, you two.
Hello.
What's up?
It's alliance time.
It is alliance time. Get your alliance on. I hope you like blue and gold,
so bright
everybody.
and shiny.
Yeah, everything's so like well built and looks comfortable to sleep in.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, man. Old Orgrimmar or new Orgrimmar. I don't care if you're playing classic or current World of Warcraft. Like Orgrimmar, it just looks like you're gonna get a splinter or stabbed by a spike if you try to sleep in any room there.
Yeah, there's so many like furs and bones and spikes and pelts.
It looks very
And then you
sturdy. During the siege, it looked sturdy, but that was,
Yeah.
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 And then you
Turns
go
out-
to
No one was sleeping
Stormwind and it's like castles and shiny things and sparkly everything and
it's
so
square
pretty.
edges. It's got square edges. Orgrimmar has so few like straight lines. It's all like just thrown
Curvy.
together.
Is that what is it?
Yeah.
Is that what's required to like be a member of the Horde? Like your architecture must embrace Tim Burton angles, because like you even go to the human architecture of the like previously Horde occupied Lordaeron, and it's like all Tim Burton-y, slightly off angle BS. Still built by humans, but yeah, I think that's a requirement.
Zultazar had a lot of right angles. It just was also really tall for some reason. And I mean, I was fine with it because I was a demon hunter, so I would just glide down on my wings. But not everybody had the wings.
No, I switched to Demon Hunter at the beginning of that expansion because I was playing Horde, and it was so inconvenient to get around the giant pink pyramid.
It was the worst.
But this isn't a WoW podcast, this is a Hearthstone podcast. And if you can't tell, we're here today doing our first episode after the announcement of the newest, the forthcoming Hearthstone expansion, United in Stormwind. We will definitely not say untie at any point. It's not going to happen.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it is. And somebody even changed the notes to unite the Murlocs.
Oh,
No,
was
it's
that a meme?
untie
What
the
were you
Murlocs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Hat, did you fix? Like, so I almost fixed it, Joss. I was like, that seems wrong, and then I was like, oh wait, no, that's the joke.
Yeah, it's because I can't read United with it. Like my brain autocorrects it to untie. So it was unite the Murlocs, but I could never say it right. So now we're just untying Stormwind, and I don't know.
I like the idea
Someone's
that
got some kinks.
I love the idea that your inner monologue has a squiggle line under words. It's like, wait, no, that's not right. My brain is correcting itself.
Yeah, we must untie.
I just clicked the blue line that was in the document, and it said, "No, you meant unite," and it was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of did."
No, you mean untie. You mean untie.
But wait, before we get into this, I do have a podcast story that I need to share with both of you.
A
that I know
podcast
you will
story.
both appreciate. It is a podcast story.
Okay.
But I had a time
Okay.
this weekend. So on Thursday, I record 2 podcasts, something that you are both specifically familiar with, I think, on that day at many points in the past.
Used to be. Yep. I kill WoW killers, so it's no longer an issue.
Yes. You are the WoW killer. So I recorded coin conceded at 8:30. It was totally fine, totally normal. And then at 1 a.m. local time, which is 8 a.m. Israeli time, which is when I recorded with Zach, we did the Vicious Syndicate podcast. And it was all great. And we recorded the second show because the first show was fine. And then they go back and upload the raw audio. And when we listen to the test file, they tell me, oh, it doesn't sound right. Something's wrong. And I go to my local audio, which I recorded myself on my machine. Hello and welcome to episode 50 of the Daily Reaper podcast. I am your host, RidiculousHat.
Make it stop.
That was local. That was not processed through Discord. That was not sent to anyone. That was from my interface to my hard drive. You may have realized that I tested my own recording and played it back 4 times during the pre-show today because I wanted to be sure. So I had to go through. I still had so I record both my own track and the raw sync track, which both voices. And then Zach recorded his own track, and his track was fine. So I went back through the sync track and re-recorded myself saying all the same things that I said
Oh my
before.
God. That's brutal.
Oh boy, I'm gonna let all the
I told you
listeners
would get nightmares.
I'm gonna let all the listeners know right now that if that shit ever happens to me, y'all ain't hearing an episode.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get a message
re-recording.
that's gonna go, "Hey everyone, Garrett here. Just letting you know, things set on fire, and we're not gonna put that fire out and reconstruct it. It is now lost to time." So
Yep.
this is also a really good reason that that's a good benefit of recording live on Twitch, because you could strip it out of the Twitch VOD as a backup recording. It's also why I'm a big proponent of just doing live to hard drive and recording the mix down as you currently hear it. But of course, there's downsides.
That was live to hard drive, though. That was live to hard drive.
Yeah, but you do.
That was a local.
You do individual tracks. Yes.
So I record both the mix and the local simultaneously. I do 2
goodness.
tracks, one left channel, one right channel. But both of them had the same corruption.
Wow. Yeah. No, what I record is what you hear.
Yes.
So
It is the first time I've ever had a local recording straight to hard drive go bad, and now I'm going to be worried about it forever.
that's some scary stuff, man. I haven't had stuff like that since the Starcast days, which was my very first podcast. And yeah, it's the whole reason I started doing backups, because I had that happen one time and we weren't doing backups. I wasn't having at the time. It was the only dude I was working with was Kyle. I wasn't having him record backups. And now, yeah. Now with Twitch, we don't bother, because it's like if Twitch sounds bad, one of our 2 listeners will let us know. And that will be figured out and dealt with. But yeah.
There are 3 people in the chat. There are more than 2.
Well, I'm sorry that I forgot we added a 3rd host on the show, and we have now inflated our live Twitch views. Anyways, dude, that is a nightmare. I'm sorry you dealt with that. Also, like, I don't know, I feel bad because I would not do what you did. I would not go through that much effort. Now I feel like a lesser podcaster.
If it was a 3-host show, absolutely not. 2-host shows are easier. The 3 hosts, unsalvageable. Not doable.
Well,
but it was the Stormwind reveal episode. You know, it's we gotta stay. I had to reunite the audio tracks because they were untied. See, we're bringing it all back together.
It all comes back around.
All right. Well, before we talk about untying Stormwindians, let's thank our patrons supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. You are the fine folks that make it, you pay us with your hard-earned dollars. You went over to the Patreon. You decided that you wanted to give us $1 or more for our trouble over here on the Angry Chicken, which is why we take the time to make sure every single one of us bastards are recording a backup track in case something like that happens. Because I'm definitely too lazy to go back and re-record every damn thing I said, but I won't need to, because Joce has a backup track, and Hat has a backup track, and Twitch has a backup track. And we take that time, and we put in those fail-safes. We put that time in and that effort in because y'all give us a paycheck every month. You're our bosses. We have hundreds of you, and all of you combined are the kindest bosses I've ever had. I've had some bosses, y'all. Ooh, I've had some bosses. But you all holding down the fort over at patreon.com/TAC. I've never liked bosses more, and there's hundreds of you. So thank you for the support. Check it out, patreon.com/TAC. Go over there, sign up, get an ad-free version of the show for your trouble, get access to our Discord, get some other perks. Go check it out. And this week we want to thank Sir Waifu, who I'm hoping wasn't trying to make a waifu joke. But
No,
maybe they were.
that's Hachikumo, actually.
Didn't know that. Did not know that. Really? That's it.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
How have I gone this long without knowing this?
I didn't.
What? Also, Parker Bailey.
I mean, I didn't know this either, but I've been on the show 7 years fewer than you, Garrett. So
Yeah. Anyways, also Parker Bailey, we want to thank both of you because you upped your pledges this past week. So thank you very much. I don't know if you realized we were going into like reveal season and you were like, well, this is the only way I can pay these jerks overtime. So thank you. We really appreciate it. You didn't have to do that, but you did, and we wanted to thank you for it. So thank you again. Check it out, patreon.com/tack if you want to support the show. Now, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news. I wonder what it's going to be about.
Good news, everyone!
United in Stormwind, of course. Also the Fire Festival, but mostly United in Stormwind because no one really cares about the Fire Festival. They serve you cheese sandwiches at the Fire Festival.
Ja Rule cares?
Ja Rule cares. Just like he didn't care about coming back for Too Fast, Too Furious. Boy, did he mess up. That's Will Smith turning on the Matrix levels of making a mistake. But
He could have been part of the family.
could have been. But that's what happened. You turn your back on family, you turn your back on the second most successful cinematic universe in the history of film. So, good job.
Is that true?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, it was more successful than whatever the hell Universal tried to do with The Mummy. So thank God they got Fast and the Furious.
The Dark Universe was one movie. Matt McMuscle just did a movie or a YouTube video about that. That was hilarious. But I was thinking like, Batman, DC sort of thing. Because the three Nolan Batman movies made a bunch of money. And then they kept making movies without Nolan, which was unfortunate. But they did make a bunch of money.
But The Dark Knight isn't considered part of the DCEU. So I wouldn't call it that. And Fast and the Furious has just made more money than God. So
Let's bring it on back to Hearthstone.
Nonetheless, let's talk about
not talking about movies.
Let's talk about United in Stormwind. And it's coming out August 3rd. It's right around the corner if you are like me and time no longer has any meaning and seems to slip by at exceedingly quick rates.
It's less than a month away, so many cards every week.
But this is more time than we usually get, right? I feel like the last few expansions we've gotten like a 3-week or 2-week reveal period, or mini sets we've gotten a 2-day reveal period. Mini sets are different, of course, but I remember both Skolo and Darkmoon Fair being kind of rushed.
Well, we have, so it's like 4 weeks basically between now and August 3rd. So.
Yeah,
when are all the reveals starting?
I was about to admit that I have no clue. I have not looked up that information whatsoever. I just assumed it was going to be a terrible, extremely fast dump. If you're people like us that actually
that they would make us like wait another week or more before they would start reveal dumping.
You may both be right because good news, the card library with the reveal schedule on the website, the schedule is blank. So to be determined.
So they don't even know.
Or they haven't told us.
Sometime between now and
There's some
August
locks.
3rd.
There's some locks. Hey, I've got breaking news for listeners there. None of those locks are going to be the Angry Chicken.
Yeah.
None of them. We're going to die. We're going to go to our graves without getting a card reveal. That's what's going to happen.
It's fine.
That's what's going to happen. It is actually fine. I just find it's like meme worthy at this point. We've gone so long without a reveal, our own audience gives up. They're not tweeting at Blizzard anymore. That's the point we've reached.
Well, it has been 7 years.
Yes.
Was Armageddillo not a reveal?
No, it was an exclusive interview.
It was an exclusive interview. Yeah. Listen,
the community revealed it by doing a million somethings, whatever it was, and then we got to post our interview about it.
About one card. Yeah. Which, listen. Not everyone gets to talk to devs and stuff. And we are in a position of extreme privilege, but that was the silliest thing. Do interviews for a single card. I think there's a reason they haven't done that since. That was pretty absurd.
It was a stretch.
That'd be like having a podcast feed about Tavern Brawl. That'd be just.
I know. Who would be dumb enough to do that?
That's gonna come up every single episode from now on. Yep. I feel like.
Yep.
Every episode, but
every episode.
Yep.
It'll be a thing.
Yep. Anyways, there's quite a few mechanics and kind of themes running through this new set, including the new mechanic of quest lines, and all 10 classes are going to get a quest line card. Apparently, these are supposed to highlight the journey of their class's mercenary, which makes sense considering the 2 we've seen. There are mercenaries front row and center in the card art. And all of them are going to be 1-mana spells that start in your hand. We're used to this from quests in the past. But they're completed in 3 parts, and you get small rewards as you go along though and complete those 3 parts, and then you get a big reward at the end. And so far, again, we've only seen 2 quest lines. We're going to talk about them later when we get into card reveals, but we've seen 2 5-mana 7/7 minions, and both have a persistent effect for the rest of the game once you play them. And so yeah, little bit of a tall order, I think, in terms of like what this card has to do to complete it, but there also seems to be quite a bit of power at the end of the quest line, at least, again, considering the examples we've gotten so far.
Yeah, they don't necessarily seem like, I mean, other than, mana cost and stats, they're obviously both the same that way, but the kind of end results, I mean, 3 spell damage for Mage is really good. But I feel like the Warlock version is just absolute insanity. But then it takes so much to get there that it should be a more powerful, I guess, like aura, if you want to think of it that way, a more powerful effect, a bigger payoff at the end, because you have to deal like, is it 21 damage to your hero to complete the Warlock quest?
The first part is 6 damage. The second part is 7 damage. The third part is 8 damage. But the first 2 parts have lifesteal of 3 at the end of completion. So you're healing 6.
So I think it's net 15. Yeah.
Total. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
Are we doing the full dive into these cards here, or are we waiting until?
Oh no. We'll wait till later. But yeah, no. I just kind of wanted to point out more along the lines of like, the minion it generates is the same, but the effects are, not necessarily equivalent. But the quests, I think, are like the Mage one, I think, is easier to do. There's less risk to the Mage one. It's kind of like, you're doing this stuff anyways, so how about we give you a reward for it?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they do it, but these are, I imagine that they will give away one of these when you log in to every player. The when the patch comes out, because they did that with the Saviors quests, because they learned from the Ungoro quests, if you make a legendary cycle that's really cool that people want to build decks around, then you don't give them away, then people say the set is really really expensive. And also, back in Ungoro, there was no duplicate protection. My good friend Wicked Good, that you both know, he opened 3 Lakari sacrifices, one of which was golden, and
and then cried.
I cried and disenchanted them, I believe. Yeah. So that can't happen anymore, but I imagine we'll all get one. And every reward here, there are 10 of these, one for each of the big mercenaries. This is definitely like a narrative thing as well. They really want to be visible. They haven't been pushing the quests in recent memory to be meta-defining because they're a legendary cycle, and also in Angora, when they made a quest meta-defining, it also did not go that well, and they nerfed it somewhere between 3 and 4
18 times.
Yeah.
It felt like almost every patch.
Cool.
There was like, and Quest Rogue gets this change.
It was so many times, and like that deck was so powerful and distinctive that when they reprinted quests in Saviors, and people would talk about Quest Rogue, be like, "What? Where? Oh, Bizarre Burglary. that's what you meant. That's fine." And just all the reactions to that phrase, Quest Rogue, just like, "Whoa, no."
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I found that in the reveal stream, when they were kind of like explaining the story behind the quest line, then that I found really interesting. But then I looked at the cards themselves, and maybe they've got like a whole bunch of voice lines and stuff that might flesh them out. But if they've got too much, then, every game I play them, I'm like, where's the skip audio button? So, I mean, there's kind of a fine line there between telling a story and not annoying your fan base. So, because it was really interesting when I saw them talk about it in the reveal stream and kind of like explain the quest line and what each character was kind of doing as they were going through this quest line. And that was really interesting. And I don't know how they're going to explain the rest of the stories, because when you just look at the card, it doesn't, unless it'll be in the flavor text maybe or something. I don't know. But when you just look at the card, they're not that verbose.
You are so much more interested in the actual story of this than I am.
Yeah.
I haven't had any of these thoughts. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Turn 1 launch book of heroes. That's not what's going to happen here.
The Deckard Cain ports in. Stay a while and listen.
Oh, man. Shut up,
Arthas Menethil was born on a cold day.
that gold would come to define his life.
Okay, I do want this to be a card now. I would like this to be a card. Please make this.
That should be the like anti Nozdormu. Turns take 7 minutes. Like, just
Stay a
Make it
while
a
and
tavern
listen
brawl.
mode.
Make it a tavern brawl with pre-built decks. Every deck has a Deck Arcane voice line. You cannot play your next card until you hear the full voice line, and whoever concedes second wins the brawl.
Oh my god.
yeah. There's also going to be a new mechanic, a new keyword called tradable. There's tradable cards, and I'm sure if you're listening,
not what you think.
It's not what you think, although you're also listening to a Hearthstone podcast, so you're probably already aware of this fact, but they're marked with what look like refresh arrows, which makes me just immediately want to try and see if PS5s are in stock again. But the refresh arrow is up in the upper left below the mana cost. That means that they are tradable. They also say tradable, so the designer in me goes, why didn't we do one or the other? But whatever, it's fine. I like the little refresh. That kind of looks dope. But you can cycle them back into your deck. You can say, I don't need this right now. And you can drag them. By the way, oh my God, the little, like being an effects and just kind of UI nerd. You literally like drag it over your deck to trade it back in.
Deck turns green now.
Yeah, it's so cool. So the way you can trade it back, essentially throw it back in your deck and get another card in return for 1 mana. It's going to cost you 1 mana to do this. But if a card has tradable and you don't need it right now and you'd rather roll the dice and hope you get something else, you can for 1 mana. And that's what tradable means. We are not trading Hearthstone cards, everybody. I think this was just a really sneaky way for the Hearthstone team to get Hearthstone technically called a TCG instead of a CCG.
I think it's an interesting mechanic. I think just being able to cycle stuff that you don't need right now back into your deck and get something that potentially you do need, as opposed to tech cards that just kind of like sit in your hand forever and are potentially useless if you're not playing against, like, say, a weapon class and you've got ooze, right? Or you've got a crab and you don't come up against a Murloc deck. You know, those cards before would kind of sit in your hand and not do anything and just be dead cards. And now you can be like, oh, hey, I don't need this ooze because this isn't a weapon class, so I'm going to cycle it back in and draw something else for 1 mana. Like, that's a very small price to pay to get rid of a dead card, which a lot of these cards that we've seen are very, I think, matchup specific.
Well, I mean, only one of them I think is like a tech card, but yeah, there's specific scenarios where you would want to use almost all of these, except Impatient Shopkeeper, which we'll probably just skip when we get to the card reveals because that card is boring.
It's an arena card. They said in interviews that they wanted to make these more situational. That in testing they tried a few things. They also said, by the way, in testing that tradable cost 0. Obviously, that was ridiculous. So they made it not cost 0. But also that they had a much higher density of tradable cards before, and they actually found that it was more fun when they reduced the amount of tradable cards and made them more situational, so that it wasn't just a deck where you were just trading all turn and just cycling. But it was on cards where you wanted the situational effect sometimes, then you got rid of it when it wasn't, like a card like Heavy Plate. You don't need 8 armor.
And we don't need Hat, apparently.
Apparently. So he's basically making the point that I was going to make, is that, you know, things like a big heal, like the 8 armor, or like dealing board wide damage to those 3 damage to all minions, like those are very situational effects. Like I think, you know, the Viper is the closest that we have to traditional like tech cards if we're talking about something like an ooze, or like back in the day, like a big game hunter, stuff like that. Whereas I think situational, like Hat said, and I guess like the dev interview said, that word is probably a better descriptor of these, because you will need them. Like, you'd need 8 armor if you're in a versus an aggro deck, right? But if you're facing, you know, a combo deck or another control deck or something, you could be like, I don't really need this. I'm going to trade it for something more proactive. So I think that these situational cards being able to be put back in your deck to bring out something potentially more useful in the moment, I think it's a really cool mechanic. I really like it.
And we'll pause here and wait for Hat.
Yeah.
He is rebooting, not by choice, according to his text he sent over.
Okay.
Yep. Rebooting, not by choice, is his message Right there. Right there. It says rebooting not by choice. Right. I looked at it. I looked up. I'm like, oh, he's back. And like, no, wait, nope. Still making the same face. Still making the same. Oh, now we got a hat icon. We got a hat icon. Is he back? Ridiculous Hat is back. Welcome back.
Let me reopen this thing. Oh my god.
Did Windows be like, yo, update, motherfucker?
No, my audio interface crashed, and I hope I recorded any of the beginning of this episode.
I just realized my timestamps are going to be totally off.
They are.
Yeah.
I'll just send you my recording. It's fine.
Okay, good. I can work with that.
Cool. Are we good to start again? I paused audio recording. Video version, enjoy getting to watch how the sausage is made.
I finished your situational card thought.
Yeah, we can move on to mounts. Yeah, we can move on to mounts. All right. Hat has rejoined us, which means we can mount back up and talk about mount cards, which is another new mechanic happening. More of a theme. We've seen mechanics like this in the past, but essentially they are buff spells that give a minion stats and an effect, as well as a death rattle that summons the quote-unquote mount, and the mount is equal to the buff stats. So if it adds a +2/+2 and that minion dies, a 2/2 gets summoned. So essentially the rider dies at the top of the mount, and the mount is now there fighting. That's kind of the lore behind it. We've seen things like that in the past. You're going to hear me talk about Spike Ridge Steed.
I was just going to say, it's like Spike Ridge Steed, very much so.
Yeah, we saw a butt ton of play back in its day. But yeah, I love effects like this. Ooh boy, do I love mounts like this, effects like this. Ooh.
Both?
It's good stuff. I like both. Yes, both is good. Big into that. We're also getting profession tools, which are 0 attack class specific weapons. They do a thing and then they lose a durability after they do that thing. And then if you logged in, you will have noticed we all got Flight Master Dungar, a neutral legendary minion. We all got him for free. It's available to play right now. You can get in there and add Dungar. What an absurd name. There's no way Dungar didn't get made fun of in the cafeteria, and I'm sorry, Dungar. I'm sorry.
I think, and I mean, we'll talk about him when we get to the cards in a little bit, but I think he has a really cool design. I like him. Yeah,
I agree. All right, before we steamroll past Fire Festival entirely, the Fire Festival is returning. It's going to be 3 weeks. It runs from July 6th, so it's kicking off tomorrow at the time of recording this and running through July 27th. There's going to be 7 legendary quests in addition to our normal daily quests. And these have to be completed in order to unlock the next one. We've seen stuff like this in the past. So the first 6 quests are going to reward you with a Year of the Phoenix pack. And the last quest is going to give us the Druid of the Flame Malfurion hero skin, which I got to say, looks pretty cool. It looks
super cool.
Not a Malfurion fan. I like
Malfurion, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks more like Fandral than Malfurion, but
it does.
About it.
Which is an upgrade. Yeah, because every night elf is cooler than Malfurion.
Instead of having to choose between Malfurion and Fandral, you kind of get to choose both.
So
this is kind of morph them together.
This is a skin that exists in Heroes of the Storm. And we kind of jokingly refer to it as sexier Malfurion because he has trimmed his beard and you can see his amazing pectoral muscles.
Jocelyn, is there a way that you would refer to him? Maybe like referring to a temperature.
Oh, he is so hot.
I did not play a bumper, dear listeners at home. I did not. I was live.
I'm just really good at replicating that voice, apparently.
That is like yelling, do Freebird. Like, do my favorite song. Do it. Do it.
Okay. If I go to a Leonard Skinner show and they do not play Freebird, I would be upset. Yeah, I'm going to yell it. I want them to do the thing.
Well, boy.
Well, I was going to save it for something we're going to talk about later, but you know what? I can do it twice in one episode. Why not?
There it is. Yeah. There's also going to be new thematic tavern brawls each week, and then there's a bundle that has really cool skins. Don't want to be a shill for things you pay real money for, but I do like the skins in this. The art is really freaking good, and I want that Uther skin. I really, really do.
Yeah, the Uther's really cool looking. I think the Rexar is really neat too. Honestly, I think that they're getting really good at cosmetics, and this is the kind of stuff that we asked for, right? So, I mean, I'm down for this. I'm not 100% sure, although I do kind of want Rag for a shaman hero. So I'll probably get this.
There's another Rag as well we're going to talk about. You can tell they just had Matt Mercer in the studio. They're like, record a bunch of lines while you're here.
Hey, while you're here. Oh, and we're going to turn the AC off to make it thematic. So there you go. Anyways, we're going to talk about cards now, and then we're going to get into the big-ass Battlegrounds patch. There's a lot more still to talk about. Before we do, we have a sponsor to thank today, and that is Raycon Earbuds, which you can check out over at buyraycon.com/TAC. That's right, they're back sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. I love my Raycon earbuds. I really freaking do. I use them like crazy. And there's just a lot to get done right now. It's the summer. You gotta do stuff. I don't know about you. I live in a literal swamp. Everything is growing constantly. It's so hot. There's so much rain. Our neighbors have a hedge. It's gorgeous and it gives great privacy, but it also completely grows over my gate to the backyard. I gotta cut that damn thing every weekend. And the only thing that makes it bearable is the fact that I got sweet tunes in my ears. I pop in my little Raycon earbuds. They're all charged up because they come in this wonderful little charging pack. I've got it right here. Yeah, it's delightfully tiny. I haven't been on an airplane in 2 years, but it was really nice when I was. Just popped it in my my jacket pocket and on my way. But yeah, lately they've been my best friend for yard work. Next to my wife, who actually helps with the yard work. I'm gonna get in trouble. But yeah, they just sound so damn good, and they have really, really good battery life, like exceptionally good battery life. The other reason I've been abusing mine recently is to get through class. I got so many papers to write, y'all. I got to write so much. I just finished a 5,000-word paper. 5,000 words.
That's a lot of words.
It is a lot of words, but I had my Raycon earbuds in. I was reclining on the couch, my laptop, clickety-clacketing away. I can't listen to words when I write, so I was playing ambient music through my Raycon earbuds. It's great.
My go-to is the Lord of the Rings soundtrack when I have to be actually writing stuff out.
I see that would be a problem because I would just want to either A, start sword fighting, or B, just put the movie on. So
yeah, it can't get too pumped because like sometimes I'll put on the Mad Max Fury Road soundtrack when I want to get stuff done, but then I'm just like, ooh, and it gets to be too aggressive. Yeah,
that would be good when I'm trimming the hedges. I'll try playing that through my earbuds next time. Anyways, go check them out. Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for Angry Chicken listeners, and here's what you got to do to get it. You go to buyraycon.com/TAC. There you'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order. It's a really good deal. So grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/TAC. Once again, it's buyraycon.com/TAC. You'll get awesome earbuds and you'll support us here at the Angry Chicken in the process. So thanks for doing that. And now let's get in here and talk about some cards from Untie in Stormwind. It doesn't work when you say the in.
Yeah.
Just got to say Untie Stormwind. Just got to do it. Just got to do it. And I can't group this by class. I don't know why. I cannot find a way to get the official site to group by class, but we're going to attempt to go in class order while still showing our fine video viewers visuals. So let's start with Hunter, which means we're talking about our first mount, the ramming mount.
Garrett.
What?
If you press the X in the top right corner and then scroll up where it says sort by most recent.
Yeah.
There's a checkbox there because the UI designer inside you must be furious right now.
Oh, there's a checkbox and a thing that has no other checkboxes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
There you go.
Woo! Ooh, spicy. Don't care. I'm not mad. It's not the best interface in the world, but I'm not mad. That's great. Awesome. Awesome. Also, I have to write one more UX design journal for my UX class that I'm currently in, and this might just be it. Anyways, Hunter, ramming mount is up first, which I feel like they could have just called a ram. Because your ramming mount is a ram. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a 3 mana rare hunter spell. It reads give a minion +2/+2 and immune while attacking. When it dies, summon a ram. Just good. Let's move on.
Well, it's an interesting effect, and this is something. Immune becoming a hunter thing is kind of interesting because Ace Hunter Kreen, I think we've had it with really terrible beast support cards in the past, Bestial Wrath, and then they made, in TGT, I think they made the 3-drop that was a Bestial Wrath and a 4/2 that was even worse somehow because it was a TGT card. And instead, this is a good rate for the effect, and True M Crescent is still in Standard, and it's cool and weird and different. And also, Hunter is the least likely to abuse immune, as opposed to Warlock in Wild, which has been the most likely, considering they've done it twice in the past 2 expansions.
Yeah. My initial thought was that seems good, and then I became kind of fearful of Trampling Rhino, but also like that's a lot of mana. You know, if you're casting this for Trampling Rhino, I think it's okay. I say sheepishly, knowing how many times I've died to trampling bastard rhino, but still.
I just want to put this in a venomous Scorpid. That's so much poison.
That is a lot. There's a lot of potential poison, right?
Yeah, and especially even though it's a hunter card, it doesn't specify it has to be a beast. I mean, a lot of hunter minions are beasts, but it kind of just opens up that door, right? So they can put it on literally anything. So this is awesome. Well, I'm just so used to hunter cards being like beast.
Yeah, I do feel the need to like extra super specify that this is not giving rush though. So, like,
right? Yeah,
your venomous Scorpid has to survive a turn to, gotcha with the ramming mount, and I feel like if venomous Scorpid survives a turn, it's already a bit of a gotcha.
Sure, and that's the thing, is that this card is a hunter card that doesn't go in face hunter. Good, make more of these, because we have too many hunter cards that are really good in face hunter and too many failed hunter archetypes. Let's do something else. Barak Codebane draws this. Go ahead and and ram up, like whatever. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to hunter archetypes that want to trade.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. I like these mount cards a lot, and I've only seen 2 of them.
2, yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen 2 of them. Had to confirm with my brain. All right, let's get into Mage and talk about. Let's start first with their quest line. We've seen 2 Mage cards, but if we're talking quest line, we've seen like 4, 5 Mage cards. But their quest line is called Sorcerer's Gambit. All quest lines are 1 mana. This one is no exception. It's a legendary spell. Quest line: cast a Fire, Frost, and Arcane spell. Reward: draw a spell. And that's when you'll complete this first leg, and then you'll move on to Stall for Time, which is cast a Fire, Frost, and Arcane spell. You're going to notice a pattern here. And your reward for finishing the second leg of this quest line is Discover 1. They write Discover 1, so you're going to get to discover 1 of those spells you cast.
Okay, so it does come from those. Does it come from those 3 spells that you've cast, or does it just mean discover a spell? No, then it would say discover a spell, right?
I would guess it is 1 Fire, 1 Frost, and 1 Arcane. Randomly, I would guess it's 1 of each from the spell schools, but I don't think it's related to the spells you've already cast. I would guess it just looks at each of those 3 spell schools, and it's 1 of each. But it is unconfirmed how it works so far. That's just what would make the most sense to me.
Hey, Hearthstone, you write your cards bad.
Discover 1 is about as ambiguous as it gets. It's almost as bad as nestling a checkbox inside a dropdown. But,
Yeah, it is. This one is the one that I found hardest to just read because I can read it so many different ways, but I always read cards wrong. So you can probably assume that discovering 1 from the ones that you cast is the wrong interpretation.
Mini rant, you're not at fault. Team 5 is. If you're reading it wrong, they're writing it poorly. And they've been writing it poorly since the beta. And they're just like, oh, it's fine because you try it. And then you figure it out. And I go, no, that's not my job. Anyways, mini rant over.
Garrett.
Yep. Once you finish that quest.
Okay, buddy?
This pisses me off to know. This is like such a trigger for me. I'm like, no, you should write your game in a way that makes any goddamn sense. Like, I shouldn't have to guess. But I've been having to guess since 2013. So I guess I'm the asshole. Anyways, let's talk about the final leg of the quest line, which is called Reach the Portal Room. You guessed it, you have to cast a Fire, Frost, and Arcane spell, and when you do, you are rewarded with Arcanist Dawn Grasp, a 5-mana 7/7, as we previewed earlier, with a battle cry that reads, for the rest of the game, you have spell damage +3. So powerful end effect.
Yeah, because you're going to be playing this obviously in a spell-heavy deck. If you have to cast I guess 9 plus the quest itself. So you've got 10 spells in your deck at least.
Yeah, because you have 9 to complete the quest, but also the quest itself to cast first before you even are sent off on your quest. So yeah, it's a total of 10.
And I mean, you can finish this with like cheapy spells, and then I would think the deck that you want to build here is probably full of quite a lot of cheapy spells that you can play alongside Arcanist Dawn Grasp. But again, it's a for the rest of the game aura effect. So even after the 7/7 dies, you still have that 3 spell damage for the rest of the game. So, but I mean, you can get a lot of worth out of spells. Like, it makes a lot of the little stuff a whole lot better, right? When you're getting 4, 5, and 6 damage for 1 mana instead of, like 1 or 2.
Yeah. This I don't know. This one seems like a no-brainer. Like, yeah, cool. Spell Mage is still gonna be a thing.
Yeah, you maybe just like find a spot for the quest and then just throw it up, and then whenever it gets done, Huzzah.
So this is interesting to me. Like, you're probably going to end up playing more than the 9 spells after the quest because the counters don't overflow. If you play 2 fire spells before you finish step 1, you still go to 0 for the second step.
Right,
so you have to be able to play the spells in the order that you want to play them, but also your opponent's going to be kind of interested in, killing you while you do all this stuff. So you have to not die and also do the quest thing. It's good against slower matchups, but Spell Mage already does just fine with that whole Incanter Slow, draw my deck, kill you with burn thing. It doesn't really need the extra spell damage. I would guess there is both support in this set for this, and also there will need to be a reason to do this. 9 spells is a lot of work, a lot of hoops to jump through here. And at the point after you've played 9 spells, you get the spell damage after, when you're already 10 spells in.
Right.
You kind of wanted it before. So you have to have something that really scales with the spell damage at the end. You have to want the game to go longer. You have to have the spells to fuel it. And you have to not just want to play Egwin, which is basically a permanent 5 mana, you gain +2 spell damage, and there's no quest. You just play the card. So I could see it, but they have to print some support for it here. And if you look at the spells we have in Standard right now, Arcane has plenty. Fire is pretty okay, especially with the next card we're about to talk about. Frost?
Well, I mean, in my head, I always go to Brain Freeze, right? Like,
yeah,
that's
it.
a no-brainer.
That's the good
it's
one.
cheap.
Well, no, it is a brainer.
Ice Block.
It has
Ice Block wouldn't be terrible either.
Ice Barrier, I assume. Ice
Barrier,
Block is kind
yes. Sorry, Barrier. Yep.
All of our old school listeners are like, what? Where's the Ice Block?
Where is it? It's back? Wild listeners
guys.
just went, I'm returning the standard. Hold my beer. Yeah. I mean, it's all good points. It's just, I'm going to assume support. I'm assuming support. Just like I'm assuming
card.
how it functions.
Well, it's okay. The support is at least less defined, but more likely. This will be a popular card. People want to do this thing because they play Mage because they want to play a bunch of spells. I expect this to be a popular card. I hope it's also somewhat playable, like you can put this in a deck and then win games because it's in your deck, not in spite of it being in your deck. I hope that's the thing. Not every card is designed to be like purely competitive, and I don't think this one is designed to be purely competitive, but I hope they print enough stuff. Maybe they print an amalgam spell, and that would be really cool. Like, it's all the spell schools, you can skip a level, but like it'd be legendary. I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Might be too easy. But I hope there's a way to make this go a little faster so that I have more ways to use Arcanist Dawn Grasp, because I want to. Right now, I really have a lot of questions about the amount of work I put in versus what I get out, and will I have time to do all that stuff the way that I want to? If those questions are answered, I am more than happy to hang out with Arcanist Dawn Grasp and kill some people. Fine with that.
It would also, yeah. I might be jumping ahead of myself. I'm already thinking of buffs, but I'm thinking like the reward of discovering one might actually be more helpful to start things off so you can kind of smooth out the way things roll out. But we'll see. Might be putting the sorcerer before the horse. Before the tome? There's something there. Someone workshop that for me. Let's talk about Fire Sale, the other mage card we got to peek at, which is a 4-mana common fire spell with tradable and deal 3 damage to all minions. So you can deal 3 damage to all minions, or you can pay a mana, chuck this back, and draw a card. So 3 damage to the board, the entire board for 4 mana.
Yeah, your stuff too.
Yep. If you have stuff.
If you have stuff,
yeah. Yeah, an important distinction there. This seems like a good spell.
I think this is the best card we've seen so far, period. It's up there. It's really, really strong. If this was in standard right now, you would put 2 of them in Spell Mage instantly, and you would not even think about it. The base rate here, the thing about tradable cards, you really want both options to be good at some point. Fire Sale, the 4-mana option, is the most likely of all of these to be the most relevant because people like to play minions, and 4-mana deal 3 to everything is a good deal. Hellfire has fallen out of play because Warlock sucks, and also because hitting yourself in the face for 3 is not a good thing. Fire Sale skips that.
Yeah, this is Hellfire, not only without the disadvantage of hitting your own face, but also with the advantage that you can get rid of it if you don't need it.
Yep. And tradable is an exception to other cards when they go back in the deck. It keeps buffs. So if you Incanters Flow it, and you draw it and it's 3 mana, the tradable still costs 1 mana, but then when you draw it again the second time, it's still a 3-mana card. It keeps the Incanters Flow discount when you shuffle it back in, unlike every other card that you shuffle back in. So it has natural synergy with a lot of what no minion mage wants to do. This would see play today, and I expect we'll see play instantly upon release, and it'll be... This card will make Mage a better and more playable class in Standard, and I am really glad to see a design like this.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning the fact that it keeps any alterations to it, because I remember them mentioning that, and I forgot to mention it myself. That's really good design, and makes tradable cards a lot more, just interesting and better. Just inherently a better thing.
You don't want to get punished for using the mechanic of the card, right? So they made a workaround to keep that from happening. It's going to be a little counterintuitive, and we'll get a bunch of tweets, blah blah spaghetti code. If you're gonna tweet about a game you choose to play and complain about how it's programmed because of an interaction you were unaware of, please just don't. Please just don't do that.
But complain about how it's written, please. Let's get some consistently written cards. Thank you.
Yeah.
And let's talk about Paladin with Prismatic Jewel Kit. This is a 1-mana 0/3 weapon. This is one of those profession weapons we talked about earlier. And it reads, after a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give minions in your hand +1/+1, lose 1 durability. Oh, I cannot wait to see the support for this card. I'm very excited about this card, kind of as it is. I'm like, maybe it'll work out, but this is the kind of thing I look at and go, there has to be more to this, right? This has to be like a sub-theme of Paladin for the Stormwind expansion.
I mean, it kind of already is.
We need more Divine Shields, though, don't we?
Lothraxion is in Standard. Remember him?
No.
The 5-mana 5/5 from Darkmoon Races, or Darkmoon Fair. Give all of your Silverhand recruits Divine Shield for the rest of the game.
Right, dudes, guy.
Right. Yeah. So if you play this and you have 3 1/1s, or you have like a Righteous Protector into an Enoyotron, which is in Standard, into a Goody 2 Shields, that's a conditioning, like a full strength conditioning. If you hit it 3 times, I don't know. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, I want a little more early game, I guess. Like, yeah, Lothraxion is sexy, but Lothraxion is past turn 5.
Slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a little more than an Enoyotron going down in my early game with my Prismatic Jewel Kit.
I mean, my big kind of question mark around buffing your hand is always that, like, it's hard to make that, like, instantly good for you. Whereas if you look at it in Warrior, the reason why conditioning's so good is because everything in your deck has rush. So it's like you make your stuff in your hand bigger, and then you can play them right away, and they instantly do stuff to your opponent, right? Paladin doesn't do that. So I don't know if this will be awesome. I like it thematically, and I hope that, again, this is another one of those like support card conversations, I think. But I don't think that hand buffing is as good in Paladin as it is in Warrior right now, but maybe there will be some shifts for that.
Yeah, there are some cards that stop seeing play in more minion-based Paladin strategies. Like, I don't think you necessarily run the Librams here, but if you play so if you play turn 2, let's say turn 2 this and a Righteous Protector, and then they bump the Righteous Protector, your Goody 2 shield's a 5/3. And then you play that on turn 3, and that's a 5/3 with Divine Shield, and it gets Divine Shield back, and that's pretty big. And then they kill that, and then you play, I don't know, what's a good Paladin 4-drop? Samuro is a 3/7. That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty nice. Or Cariel. She would be a 6/5. I think there's options here. And then the Cariel triggers the third option, and then on turn 5 you play some big stupid Paladin minion, the Carousel Griffin. I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious about this. Or a Devout Pupil. Remember Devout Pupil? The Scholomance card that, like, for every time you've targeted your minions, it costs 1 less, and it's a 4/5 Divine Shield. Imagine if that thing was a 7/8. That's big. That's huge.
I'm still skeptical. I'm still skeptical. This card itself is like slower than dirt. Even though it's 1 mana, I get that, but it's taking up a weapon slot. I'm a paladin. I've got good weapons. I've got good things to do with that slot.
I just want to play fast beef in Paladin. I just want to
You
get.
say fast beef?
Fast beef, yes.
Okay, man. I'm here.
Like
I'm here for Hat's fast beef. I'm here for it. I'm up for it. Let's do
This
it.
went off the rails quickly.
I'm just gonna update
the
the show
beef.
title real quick.
But my
Hat's
SEO.
fast beef.
It's okay,
We're
Jocelyn.
gonna get a lot of.
It's okay,
people are
Joss.
gonna
I'll fix it
Google
at the end.
Arby's and find us. They're gonna Google Arby's and find us, and we'll be fine.
We've got the fast beef.
We have to leave it now.
Oh, all right. Well, let's talk about big meat and talk about Elec Mount as we move into Priest. Elec Mount is a 7-mana rare priest spell. Give a minion +4/+7 and taunt. When it dies, summon an Elec. If you've been following along, you will realize that, yes, this is a Mount card. And this is where I want to invoke Spikeridge Steed, because this is what it reminds me of. Spikeridge Steed was all the way back in Ungoro. It was 1 mana less than this, and gave a minion +2/+6 and taunt. And then when it died, it summoned a Stegodon that was a 2/6. So you have 1 more mana, but you get 2 more attack and 1 more health. And it's in Priest. And it's a giant purple elephant, which I gotta say, I'm sorry, Stegodon. I think giant purple elephant is actually an upgrade aesthetically.
I mean, this sees play, right? Like,
People gonna be mad about this.
We
People
saw
gonna
so
be
much.
mad.
I'm playing Priest.
And
I like this card so much. This card is single-handedly gonna make me play Priest again.
So, like, currently against Priest, if you are playing an aggro deck, you have to make a choice at some point in the game, usually around turn 3 or 4. Do I pretend all of their minions have taunt because otherwise Apotheosis kills me, or do I just go face and hope they don't have it? That situation currently exists, where if you don't trade, sometimes you get blown out by APO and the game is over. This is that, but way slower, and probably worse, but still probably good enough to see play. But if you were already trading to deal with the 3-mana minion enchantment, then you were probably trading enough to deal with the 7-mana one. And if you were behind on board as a priest, and you say, okay, I just need to get to a turn where I can play a minion and then play my 7-mana buff spell, well, I got some bad news about how that game's going to go. But if you're a deck that wins with minions or Doomhammer, and you don't have Devolving Missiles or whatever, and your opponent has something in play, and then they plop down 14 points Taunt Butt on top of it, the game is now over. It's a lot
Points
of Taunt Butt.
Have I mentioned recently that I'm very ready for Devolving Missiles to rotate the hell out of this game?
It definitely takes away some of the funsies.
I don't think that losing to this will feel all that fun in the moment. I don't
But
think this is the good
it's
guy.
gonna feel fun for me to play it as a priest, as an take that, you aggro-y doom hammering shaman. And then they go 1 mana devolving missiles and I cry. Like, I just paid 7 mana for this.
I mean, sometimes they have the good answers, and sometimes you win the game and run away with it. I think that is good design because the dynamic playability and gameplay. And fine, if you want to pay 5 mana for a lily pad lurker, that's still a good deal for the shaman. Like, that's fine, even though it costs 5 times as much. But I like cards like this because they're different from game to game. Sometimes you don't even get to play it. Sometimes you get to play it and it wins you the game. Sometimes you get to play it and then they deal with it. There's a lot of ranges of outcomes there. With Apotheosis, if they have time to cast it, they probably did what they wanted to do with it the turn they played it, and that was enough. This requires the board to matter for multiple turns in a row. Love that. Big fan of that. But people are going to complain about how much taunt this is, and they're going to be upset about losing to it because it is a priest card. Even though if you put this in like Druid or whatever, it would get way less hate because it would have a different border, but it would be the same thing. But yeah,
it's true. Like, people are on the priest war path right now. So
yeah.
Although I will say the other card that we had revealed, Dark Bishop Benedictus, looks really cool, and I'm excited for Shadow Priest in all its forms.
Tell me what Dark Bishop is doing.
So Dark Bishop is a 5 mana, 5/6 legendary priest minion that reads, at the start of the game, if the spells in your deck are all shadow, enter shadow form. Dun dun dun.
This is a cool card.
So yeah, you get your so shadow form, if you guys aren't aware, is when your priest hero power, instead of becoming heal for 2, deals 2 damage, and it is targetable at minions or face. So it's like Hunter, but with the little minion that let you target minions too, or it's like Mage on steroids from the get-go too. Not even like you have to cast the shadow form spell. So if you can make a deck with all shadow spells, then I think this is a really, really good supporting card. It frees up those 2 shadow form slots, right, in your deck.
Yeah.
And also it allows us to be removal on turn 2. And they've done a few interviews about this. This is one of the 2 diamond cards, this expansion.
Ooh, fancy.
One of the 2. Yep.
Again,
so,
why
I can't wait to see the hat.
The diamond card. It's like they just want people to get mad at them.
They want people to play a priest deck that ends the game in a reasonable amount of time. If they make this card the pretty one, then people are drawn to Shadow Priest instead of Generate Holy Priest, and then they instead go for burn spells and kill you. They've also said in interviews there are going to be a couple key cards supporting this, and that it's going to be forward moving. It's going to be about getting a game to a reasonable conclusion. My priest, I have 970 priest wins that's just been stuck there for an entire expansion because I can't bring myself to play the current priest. But boy, am I excited to go face. Boy, am I excited for that. Turn 2, get him. Turn 2.
It's like we've already forgotten Anduin Raza combos.
I've been playing wild. He's still there.
Deck too.
He's
I
still
know,
there.
but like people hated all the damage that you could do as Anduin, and with the refreshing hero power. I mean, like, yeah. I think people just hate Priest. I think that no matter what Priest is doing, there's going to be people that are just super angry at it. But I'm excited, like you had to be trying something different and to be taking Priest down a different path that isn't, generate a gajillion things every game and go forever.
I'm excited about this card. I think it's really cool. And I think, yeah, like you mentioned, Hat, I think if we end up in a world where Priest is still winning, but they're winning faster, that's a net positive as far as I'm concerned. So I like this card quite a bit. And there's quite a few shadow spells at the moment. I'm sure we'll see a few more. So we'll see how it shakes out.
You still get to play Hysteria, you still get to play Soul Mirror, you still get to play Palm Reading, you still get to play like Insight and Thrive in the Shadows, but you got to skip out on Renew and Apo in particular, which are really big losses.
You got to skip out on Elec. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. You got to skip out in the Purple Elephant. I don't know how I forgot about that.
It's a purple elephant. How is that not shadow? Come on.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's a nothing. It doesn't have a spell school. So, I mean, even blank ones would deactivate your Dark Bishop Benedictus. So,
Yep.
you have to be very careful, but I think that's good.
Well, speaking of not being sure about things being good or not, let's talk about Warlock. Starting with their quest line, The Demon Seed. Just sounds wrong.
So gross.
Yeah, as all quest lines are.
Kind of evil laugh.
Yeah, it is a legendary 1-mana spell. Quest line is to take 6 damage on your turns, reward lifesteal, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. And as we mentioned before, it goes up 1 damage from there. So the next step is called Establish the Link. You need to take 7 damage on your turns, and then you reward lifesteal, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. The final step of the quest line is called Complete the Ritual. You have to take 8 damage on your turns, and the reward is Blightborn Tamsin. And Blightborn Tamsin is a 5-mana 7/7 with a battle cry that reads, for the rest of the game, damage you take on your turn damages your opponent instead.
That's pretty neat.
I think the
Especially
hidden text.
once you start. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, like the hidden text on this on Blightborn Tamsin is, "Oh my God, you're still alive! Like, you made it here. Congratulations."
Yeah. So basically, yeah, and Albardo in the chat room is talking about it right now too. This would count fatigue damage. So if you delete your deck and start taking fatigue damage on your turn, you're not actually taking fatigue damage. You are hitting your opponent in the face.
Oh, I cannot wait till like I'm 5 deep in fatigue and I life tap and they take another 2 and then another 6. Like, oh, it's so much. It's
Right?
so much. Or like you're in fatigue and you backfire and they take like 19 or whatever. I don't know. I didn't do the math. It's a bunch.
It's so much and so good.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, I think. It's a really cool and interesting design to build a deck around. I'm assuming damaging your own face and then doing powerful things, because anything that damages your own face in Warlock usually have powerful somethings attached to them, like either more stats than a minion's supposed to have or some sort of super powerful effect. But you're getting it's a give and take relationship, right? You're taking away your health, but you're doing something powerful. So your deck's probably going to be pretty powerful anyways. And if you balance that with a couple of heals, then, this might actually be doable. And then you just make super crazy OTK type combo-y things near the end. And I don't know. I think this is really interesting and something we haven't really seen Warlock do and take advantage of lately. So I'm down for this. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean they still have self-healing for the damn shards I always forget the name of.
Yeah. The soul shards?
Soul shards, thank
Soul
you.
Fragments.
Soul fragments, there you go.
Yeah, soul shards are what Warlocks use in WoW. I called them that
Right.
for a month.
Yeah. So they still got some self-healing through that.
And there's healing in the quest, right? So like we
Yeah.
said earlier, like you take 21 damage, but you will heal for 6. So it's a net 15 damage that your hero will take through the course of this this quest. And then who knows, maybe after you play Tamsin, you can do a lot of crazy stuff and kill your opponent.
Yeah, chat room's pointing out also taking damage from attacking as Jiraxis would be damage on your turn. So if you're
Yeah.
hitting yourself in the
I
face.
do think that is a very ambitious situation where we play this in turn 1, dome ourselves a bunch, make it to turn 9, have a weapon, we're still attacking some minions. I think actually the appeal of this is that if you're playing Delete Warlock, you don't have to play Jirax anymore. You no longer have a win condition that you can burn, that you can mill out with Altar of Fire or whatever. You're guaranteed to get this one if you take the damage and survive.
That's a
So
good point.
I think it's a natural fit there, but there's so many deck building opportunities there. The design just makes the mind explode with possibilities, and unlike the Mage one, which is very prescriptive, you have to have a bunch of different spells and they have to have a bunch of different spell schools. This is just do warlocky things and you will eventually get there with some kind of purpose, and then you will probably find a way to take advantage of this.
Well, yeah,
In
I mean,
fact, my
even if you built a deck that had no cards in it that actually dealt damage to your face, you could still complete this with your hero power. It would take forever, and I would not advise it,
would.
but you could do it, right? You can't complete the Mage quest with your hero power, so
Just life tap 11 times, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, And there's no Warlock deck that's not going to play Raised Dead, so like that's enough by itself. But like you could do a Dark Lair thing, you could do a Sealer of Souls thing, you could do a Delete Lock thing, you could do a Soul Fragment thing, and there's going to be support cards. My biggest fear here is that in order for this to make sense, and in order for Stealer to stay in Standard, which they wanted to do because of this makes a lot more sense, and for Dark Lair to stay in Standard because of this, which makes a lot more sense, they have to print something that supports this, which means it's probably cheap and probably deals your face damage and probably gains you life, which means it's probably going to break Wild again. That's probably going to happen, and they're probably going to have to ban Dark Lair, even though they just said they don't want to ban too much, because Warlock is constantly barely held in check by adjustments immediately after set releases. And if this is good in Standard, it's because of support cards they print that are probably insane in Wild, even without playing the quest.
I mean, I feel like at this point, we just have to shrug and accept that they're probably going to have to ban or balance Wilds with the release of each set. Like, the pool of wild cards is getting so big at this point that they can't do cool things in Standard unless they heavily impact Wild. And so they're going to have to do something over there. And yeah, it's inevitability, I think, with each new set now.
Yeah. And they've only expressed reluctance at banning, not to balancing, and we've seen multiple Wild-specific balance changes in the past. No reason to think they can't do more of them in the future. So I'm not that worried from a design standpoint in that, because the team has showed a lot of happiness and willingness to go and make changes for the betterment of Wild outside of banning. Banning is a very new thing, so yeah, I'm not expecting them to overuse that capability, but from like my emotional reaction to this is like, I've never wanted to do something so damn bad in Hearthstone in a very long time. I really want to make this work. I haven't played like a meme deck, like a deck I know is bad but is just so cool I want to take the losses to get to those win conditions in a very long time. And so if this ends up being not viable, I'm memeing.
We're going to see this card. They knew what they were doing revealing this card early. Everyone I've talked to at every level of play wants to play with this really badly, and everyone has different ideas on how to do it. It's a success already.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think you could also probably throw in the next card into that deck as well, because I think if you're playing like a delete fatigue type Warlock that's trying to make it so that you have all of the card draw all of the time to either get through your deck or just draw through fatigue damage to kill your opponent, I think you're probably also going to be using the 3 mana 0/2 profession weapon for Warlock called Runed Mithril Rod. The text on that card is, after you draw 4 cards, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1 and lose 1 durability. So it only has 2 durability, so this can happen twice. But that's still... You're probably going to have a big hand, right? So I think this is really good.
Yeah. The Rune Mithril Rod is giving me Mad Thorson vibes. This is super cool. I have historically really liked these type of effects. And hey, now it's not just priests in Standard doing this with spells, right?
And if you hit Soul Fragments here, the cast when drawn, each of those counts and then keeps going. So if you play this and then hit Soul Fragment, Soul Fragment, Soul Fragment card, it instantly triggers. It instantly works right away, because each of those Soul Fragments does count, even though it immediately flips itself into the next card.
Oh, wow. So then you would effectively almost get both the activations?
Well, if you hit that sequence,
okay, so your Soul Fire
fragment,
would do... Right.
Yeah, if you hit 1 Soul Fragment, it counts as 2 draws, because you would hit 1 Soul Fragment and then draw another card.
Yeah, the Soul Fragments
I understand
count as a draw, even though you just immediately get the next draw, so you kind of bundle some free draws together if you get lucky. Right. And that's going to be a relevant thing. There's no more plot twist in Standard. That would have been bonkers, insane-o nutso with this. Because if you play this and then plot twist a hand of 8 cards, they both trigger right away, so your entire hand gets -2. Oh, that's spooky. Ooh, hairs in the back of my neck just stood up. That's not okay.
That's
a wild thing, right?
It is. Though, luckily, if you're waiting till turn 5 and Wild to do something gross, you're probably dead.
Well done. I'm excited for both these Warlock cards a lot. I love Warlock, one of my most played classes. Love them to death. Haven't been playing them recently, would be very down for getting back in touch with my Gul'dan side. Or Nemsy. I think I'm using Nemsy. Anyways.
Who doesn't use Nemsy? She's adorable.
She's such a bastard. I love her. She's great.
N'Zoth is a great hero, by the way. So it makes me feel really bad when I stick with Nemsy, but look at the N'Zoth in my collection.
Does N'Zoth whisper his disappointment at you?
He's muted. I just listen to Nemsy.
Oh shit. Okay, you right-click squelched an old god. I didn't consider that as an option.
Whatever. He needed to get buffed anyways. He knew it.
All right, let's talk about the last class card we got to look at, which is Heavy Plate for Warrior, a 3-mana common spell that is tradable. Gain 8 armor. I think this is of the 4 tradable cards we've seen so far, this is my second to least favorite, next to the neutral that I think is just kind of a filler card.
This is just like super situational, right? And like sometimes you want 8 armor, sometimes you don't, which is good because I mean we saw shield block played all the time. This is like similar, like shield block split into parts.
Yeah, it's a worse shield block, but we can't play shield block in standard at the moment. So
yeah, and it's like worse, better.
It's a compromise, right? So tradable is kind of like if you need to balance a card and drawing 1 card is too good, but drawing 0 cards is too bad, you kind of draw half a card here, right? Because it's you either get 3 mana gain 8 armor or 1 mana draw a card. The 1 mana is clearly better than 3 mana. 8 armor is clearly better than no armor sometimes, but you got to choose which one you want. It's an interesting player decision. And if you're in one of those matchups where you need the armor, if you're against Face Hunter, you'd rather have the 8 than the 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worse than shield block by a lot because shield block was just like play shield block. I get everything. I get whatever I want.
Yeah. But slightly less armor. Slightly less armor. This is a choice as well. But like you say, we can't play shield block in standard right now. So this is a good substitute.
It was just such
if
a
it's
staple
this or nothing, I'll take this.
Yeah. For any other time, so many other cards, I probably wouldn't even be thinking about it, but shield block was a playable staple for so long that I can't help but look at this and go,
you're not shield block.
Yeah. It's just like this is your mother going, you have a shield block at home, and going, no, it's not the same. It's not the same.
You buy this, take this home, and go, ooh, shield block, and never play with Heavy Plate ever again.
Pretty much. But again, this is the reality we're in. So like, I think if warriors care about armor, this sees play.
Or care about survivability, right? Yeah.
This is the kind of card that Control Warrior needs. Rush Warrior doesn't want this. You want this in a deck with some mana inefficiency that needs big chunks of life sometimes and doesn't other times. And this kind of card makes something like Outrider's Axe better, which is good because Outrider's Axe is a really good card. That's the 4-mana 3/3 weapon. If you kill a minion with it, you draw the card. We couldn't play that before because people kept trying to face tank, and they're like, "Oh, I don't have any armor gain. I'm dead now." And you can play this on 3, and then Outrider's Axe on 4, and actually turn that into real card draw and removal. Couldn't do that before. So this is a tool to push to that strategy, which is a different strategy than Warrior currently has. So I like that. I think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk neutrals. Starting with Spice Bread Baker, 4-mana 3/2 common neutral minion. Battle Cry, restore health to your hero equal to your hand size.
Warlock?
I mean, this card's just kind of good, right?
This already reeks of seeing a lot of play and a lot of do we have we coined a term for ubiquitous cards? Your Zilliaxes, your Azure Drakes, your new Alex Strauzes, old Alex Strauss in certain metas.
Yeah, I think we call them ubiquitous cards.
Okay, yeah, I smell. That's not spice bread. I'm smelling ubiquitous deck inclusion.
I mean, there are some decks this is really bad, and also I want to find a rogue deck that plays this twice in the same turn the opponent concedes, but it costs the same amount of mana as Kazakus, and I'm playing Kazakus over this.
Yeah. Also, this is an anti-Keel bot. This is not an Azure Drake.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, not good for every archetype, but I think the more archetypes than your standard neutral card. This is above average. I think this is going to see above average inclusion for a neutral, for a bad body for the mana.
Yeah, I think that Warlock deck that we were talking about before, I think that absolutely plays it because you're going to be drawing a lot of cards. You might only be playing 1 or 2 a turn, depending on what the build looks like. And the stuff that you're playing is probably generating more cards. Like, I think you're going to be playing that Warlock deck with a pretty big hand size, which means this is going to make up for a lot of the health that you lose as part of the way your deck is built and the quest completion. So I think that's where this probably sees play. And I think it also sees play in anyone in a mid-rangey type control or combo deck in a super aggressive meta.
All good points, and none point out how delicious the roll in the front of that art looks. I want it.
It looks like a photo of bread. I'll be honest. It looks delicious.
Looks so good. It looks so good. Yep. All right, next is one of my favorite in-game references. Actually, it is my favorite in-game reference we have seen so far.
Yeah, same.
It is Mailbox Dancer. It's a 2-mana, 3/2 rare neutral minion with a battle cry that reads, add a coin to your hand, death rattle, give your opponent 1.
That armor set is ridiculous.
I turn to Hat and go, rogue? Question mark?
So, okay. I turn to you two and say, explain this to me as though I don't play WoW because I don't play WoW.
You take all of your armor off and you stand on top of a mailbox and you slash dance and you hope people give you tips.
It's a stripper thing.
How did this start happening?
The second the first player realized you could unequip your pants.
Yeah. It's so true.
That's how it's been happening since vanilla.
Since way back in the day.
Yeah, my we all used to, when we were about to log off for the night, we were just BSing over TeamSpeak back in 2005 was when I started playing. Yeah, we would all jump on top of mailboxes, start slash dancing, and we'd finish our conversation for the evening about what our plans were for the next time we logged on, and then we logged out. So many damn times I would log back into the game on top of a mailbox was very common.
Yeah, Kajatar's got it right. Horny teens and elves.
Horny 34-year-olds and elves.
I expected some kind of lore background here, and the answer I got was really different than the one I anticipated. And yet I'm somehow not surprised.
This is entirely player.
Yeah,
behavior.
This is player behavior driven. Yeah.
No, it's.
Where have you been?
In other games.
You play World of Warcraft. You've never seen a single person just dancing on a mailbox and thought to yourself, that's weird.
Definitely more common on RP realms too, and also not if you started in Legion, not as common that late into the game.
I mean, RP realms, I'll see you at the end, but
yeah. What's that one? There's that one RP realm. I forget the name of it.
I don't remember.
Moonglade?
Is it Moonglade?
Yeah,
is that the one? Or Thirsty Glade?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
No, you've spent too much time there. I need to go.
Yeah, I'm glad Joce was very quick.
Of my tongue, eh?
Moon Guard.
Moon Guard. Okay.
Oh, thank
Moon
God,
Guard,
Joce is wrong. Woo!
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I was playing ARMS, which was why I didn't go there. I heard it was not safe for warriors.
Anyways, bring it back to the world of sanity. Is this any good? Because unless I evolve this with a shaman, I'm not super stoked about the potentially giving my opponent.
I don't want to give my opponent innervate. There may be some world where we have a way to abuse battle cries where I get a bunch of coins, but seems like a lot of work for a couple coins, and Shadow Step is such a valuable resource. We only have 2 of them, and every card in the deck is good when we Shadow Step them, and most of them are better than this. I don't anticipate this seeing play. They've tried designs like this before, and they haven't seen play. I'm not going to write it off. It is not bad enough to be written off, but the downside is significant enough here, and the body is not really all that special. That
Don't
I
you
really
body
need
shame
to-
the Mailbox Dancer.
Come on,
Okay,
he worked
the
hard for
stats.
that.
Listen, just because this particular Mailbox Dancer is a never nude does not mean you get to shame this individual.
Okay. Yes, there are dozens of them.
Dozens of us. Oh man.
That's what I
Why don't
say
we
about
move
our
to the
Twitch
next
chat
one?
every day. Every day. All right, Pandaren Importer. I don't know why I'm jumping around. No, we'll talk about that. We're skipping Impatient Shopkeep. It's a boring card.
Okay, hold on. Impatient Shopkeep. Here's what's gonna happen. Here's what I want you to know. Here's what's gonna happen.
3 mana, 3/3
Impatient
tradable
Shopkeep.
rush for the audio listeners.
Okay. On turn 10, on a Trollden video, a rush warrior is going to athletic studies. They're going to trade this when they get it off the athletic studies. They're going to draw a troublemaker. Their opponent's going to be at 6, and the 3/3s will attack over a board of minions and kill them. That's what's going to happen. I have no further comments on this card.
Restaurant Viper is a 3 mana, 3/4 common neutral beast. Tradable. Battlecry, destroy your opponent's weapon. This is the techiest tech card we've seen with tradable so far. I loved the design of this card. I like tech cards. I like tech cards that I can trade for another card when I don't need that tech a lot more.
Yep, I like this a lot. I think this is going to see a lot of play. I think it's going to see a lot of competitive play. This is going to be in GMs.
This card, I have a lot of feelings about this card. I've thought about this card a lot. I've talked about this card a lot. So this card, I understand that what I'm about to say is going to feel like a large leap. I think this card is a fascinating insight into human behavior. I think that's what's happening here.
Oh?
Do you all remember Bad Luck Albatross?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you remember why they nerfed it?
No. I do not.
It was not because it was too good. It was because it was annoying and people were playing tons of it. I think that tradable is going to be heavily overplayed because people will just say, "Oh, well, you can just throw it back." But you could
Like
also just play better cards.
tradable as the mechanic in
As the
total,
mechanic.
like all of them.
I think
Okay.
they will play. I think they will play a lot of tradable cards because the option to trade is so juicy that people will be like, "Well, I can
Enticing?
just throw it back and get something else." Yeah. But this one in particular, people hate losing more than they like winning. They would rather not lose than win. And I understand there's a correlation there, but oozing a Doomhammer feels good, and losing to a Doomhammer feels real bad. So people are more likely to run things like ooze. Now, this is an ooze that has way less of a downside, right? You can mulligan it after turn 0. Because that's what tradable basically is. You can pay mana to mulligan later in the game. So people are just going to throw this into deck lists because, well, I might as well have one. I think it's going to be so oversaturated that even though it's not going to deserve the spot in your deck list, and you'd probably be better off running something else. People hate losing to weapons so much, and they just printed 10 0 attack weapons that are just going to sit there. I think people are going to be so enamored by the idea of breaking a weapon that this is going to see so much play that weapon-based strategies are going to stop being able to exist because there are so many Restaurant Vipers running around, even though there probably shouldn't be in a power level or alignment with the meta, because people will want to have the answer and they don't feel like they're giving up much to have it in their deck. So I think
it's also
kind
a
of
3 mana 3/4, right? So even
Right.
if you're just straight up looking at the minion itself, it has fine stats and a beast
It's
tag. I
okay.
mean, like it's not way overpowered, but like it's also not a 1/3 or something.
Yeah, you can just play it on curve. You want to play it on curve,
Yeah,
like it's
if
okay.
if you really
Same-
want to.
Yeah, and same with ooze. Kind of like a 2 mana 3/2 is not exciting. A 3 mana 3/4 is not really all that exciting, but it's it's more likely to trade with a couple 2-drops. It's okay. I think that people are going to be so drawn in by tradable and the idea of never losing to a weapon again that this is going to see so much play that weapons are going to be unusually depressed. Like they're going to be harder to run.
They're gonna be real sad.
They're gonna be
Sad
really
weapons
sad.
everywhere.
Well, like Doomhammer in particular, but also all the profession tools, they just printed 10 cool weapons that
Yeah.
need to stick around for a while, and a card that people are going to want to play to the point of where it's going to make those weapons be less good just through splash damage. I don't know if this is actually what's going to happen, but so many people are talking about this card and the concept of tradable in general. I see a future where this is in every deck list just because, and that might have weird effects on the meta.
I'm down for weird effects on meta.
Yeah, I don't know if it's bad. Just like I think
It's just gonna
that-
be different, which I think is good.
Yeah. I
I
envision
mean,
a
if
future.
if we don't end up seeing a lot of profession weapons, maybe buffing them is the answer. So it becomes a like super high risk, super high reward sort of a scenario where, you know, it might get destroyed in the next turn, but if you can play it and activate it during the same turn, then you get this like really crazy big effect, and then your opponent plays the Viper and then it's gone, but you've already had like some big crazy thing happen. But you know, that's also many metas away, I think.
It's a little unknown, but I'm also going, yes, all those weapons, but also we're getting quest lines, and this doesn't interact with that. And I think they want that also to be a bit of a purveying theme to Stormwind.
Yeah. If you print a card like this, you want weapons to be worse. And if they want weapons to be worse, I am down with that. I don't need that weapons to be good. I don't need to ever see a Swine Tusk Shank again. I'm fine with that. And there might be a point where the weapons are taken out of so many decks that people stop running Rustrat Viper, and then it's this interesting push and pull of, do I put this card back in? Do I put the weapons back in? That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
My concern, if we can even call it that this early, is that the weapons fall out of decks, but people keep the Vipers and they're like, oh, you never know when I might need it. And even though their deck might win slightly more without this card in it, the games where they lose without having weapon removal feel so bad they keep it, and then weapons just don't see play for a year and a half unless they nerf this card to 4 mana. That's like the extreme scenario, but I could see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Archetypes are getting more interesting too, though, and more specific when we have things like spell-only Mage. And like we haven't seen the priest weapon yet either, but there's also weapon like classes. It looks like we're heading towards a shadow priest reality. You know, if enough of those non-weapon archetypes are viable, you know, yes, it's tradable, but like how much, like, wouldn't you just rather it be a card that's good against these decks that don't even run a damn weapon in the first place? I think maybe the one place, a little bit of that, what I just said, gets washed away is any deck that has, or any class that has access to beast synergy. Looking at you, Hunter. You know, this becomes a little more attractive, like freaking tech crabs of the past that you would just throw in Hunter, because who cares if you didn't run into a Murloc? It's a beast. But you know, at the end of the day, your end scenario that you described, Hat, where there's a push and pull, where you scared all the freaking weapons away, and everyone's going, well, damn, I'm doing nothing with my Viper. I don't even want to pay the mana to trade it out. I just wish it was something else. I'm getting them out of there, and then the weapons come back, and then you get, you know, a dusting of Vipers here and there. That's the world I want to live in. At the end of the day, I just like the design of this card. This just seems like an absolute no-brainer for tech cards. Like, to have a tradable stamped on there. This is the poster child. This is it. You said you've been thinking about it. Here you go. Print it out, put it on a poster. You can open your locker door and blow it a kiss.
Stare longingly at Viper.
Yeah. So there you go. I never had a locker, but I'm assuming that's something someone did.
You never had a locker? Okay, that's an aside tangent we're not going down, but
Nope. We still have a patch to talk about.
We do.
We're not
have
even
a
out of
patch to
cards.
talk about.
We're not even out of
Did your
cards.
back hurt with all the textbooks?
It did. It really did. Anyways, by the time I got sick enough of it, I had a car, and I just said my car is a locker. Pandaren Importer is up next. 2 mana, 1/3 neutral minion battlecry. Discover a spell that didn't start in your deck. Hi, Shadow Priests that are going to want to be a thing, but maybe you actually want to get some spells that aren't Shadow. Looking at you.
Maybe this is the closest we get to Aya. It's
It
a
is.
Pandaren
Maybe.
holding a chunk of
Jade.
jade.
Yeah. That is very jadey.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the first thought I had when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, it's happening.
We just talked about this.
Yeah, it's happening. And then I read the card and I'm like, never mind, everybody. It's not happening. False alarm. Not happening. Yeah. It's a decent neutral.
I feel like spell schools are kind of the payoff here. Because also in Shaman, if you're running Dungeoneer, or in Mage, if you're running Dungeoneer, or in if you're running any of the Dungeoneers, this allows you to bypass that restriction. I don't know how relevant that will be, but it's got to be something, and that's definitely the use case here.
Yep. All right, let's talk about Peasant. 1 mana to 1 common neutral minion. At the start of your turn, draw a card. So Peasant survives, you draw a card. Peasant doesn't survive, you question why you put this card in your deck.
Does this keep happening every turn?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So persistent effect. Okay.
Well, actually, no,
Like in
because
that
it has 1 health and it's going to freaking die. So it is not going to happen every
Yes,
turn.
correct.
Well, yes, true. I'm just like, if your opponent goes AFK for like 4 turns, you could draw like 3 cards.
I mean, yeah, if reality suddenly schisms into a world where that happens.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if my
I don't
opponent
think
falls
this
asleep.
even survives. Yeah, I don't think this even survives 1 turn. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna try to play devil's advocate, and I'm just whatever. I don't care.
So, fun fact, this card is a reprint. Do either of you remember Tournament Attendee? It's from TGT. It's a 1-mana 2/1 taunt. That's what this is. It's the same card.
What was the card? Tournament what now?
Tournament
Attendant.
Attendee.
Attendee.
So you're trying to ask me to remember a card from TGT that didn't see play. You're gonna have to be way more specific. That's the majority of TGT.
Well, it is a 1-mana 2/1 taunt, and so is this. And they both died a lot, and neither
yeah.
of them drew any cards. It's basically identical.
Yeah.
I remember that, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, good voice lines.
You know what I'm gonna say? I like Peasant's Art. Let's end this with Flightmaster Dungar, a card we all have in our collection right now. 3 mana,
As long as you
3/1.
logged into the game.
Yes.
And after we talk about this, we'll be done, Gar.
If you
Oh God.
done, get out. Dungar is a 3 mana 3/3 battle cry. Choose a flight path and go dormant. Awaken with a bonus when you complete it. And do they not have the related cards here? Where are they? Where the hell?
They have a lot of related
it's
cards
right
because
at
they
the
have to
bottom.
show you.
Where's the
They
actual?
have to show you all of the
Right at the
adventures.
bottom.
The last
Oh
3.
my God.
Westfall, Ironforge, and Plaguelands. Yeah.
All right. Yep.
Because they have to show you all the adventures from the Wailing Caverns. You might have forgotten by now.
Yeah. Sure. Anyway, if you choose Westfall, Dungar will awaken in 1 turn and summon a 2/2 adventurer with a random bonus effect. If you choose Ironforge, it takes Dungar 3 turns to get there. And then when you get there, Dungar restores 10 health to your hero. And if you choose Eastern Plaguelands, in 5 turns, deal 12 damage randomly split among enemies. And as someone who recently flew to Eastern Plaguelands in Classic, I would say 5 turns is way too quick.
I absolutely love the flavor of this card. As a Warcraft player, like this is super flavorful and just so appropriate and accurate for, like distance from Stormwind. And oh man, I don't know. I saw these flight paths because first I read the card and I was like, you do what in the who now? But this is really
The
cool.
Mailbox Dancer on Moonguard is where you do the who and the what.
Good. Boy.
Oh man, yeah, but I really like this design. It lets you like judge what kind of matchup you're in. It lets you, I think like 3 mana, and then the next turn you get a 3/3 with the 2/2. Because it goes dormant, so you can't kill it. So as soon as this guy wakes up, you're gonna get a 3/3 plus whatever the effect is, right? So I mean, it seems really good as like a tempo play on 3, just going to Westfall. And then if you're a Warlock doing the quest, you could go to Westfall if you need some board presence. You could go to Ironforge if you need to heal back up again. Like, I don't know, whoever does Eastern Plaguelands, 5 turns a really long time, but
I love that one, man. That is like Hearthstone chicken. It's just like you're staring down the other person, just like,
oh yeah,
oh yeah.
it's coming.
What you got? What you got in 5 turns?
Yeah, and I mean that could, by the time it becomes active, it could kill something big, or if you've managed to keep the board clear, that's a huge amount of damage to your opponent's face because it's 12 damage randomly split among enemies. So, could be face, could be minions, depends on what your opponent's board looks like. This is so cool. I love that there's just 3 completely different effects and 3 different like this reminds me of a lot of the different effects that we've seen, like with Kazakis and then now Golem Shaper, where you can choose stuff that's a little bit more immediately impactful, or you can go for something really big in, some turns down the road. I really like this card. It's probably the first one that I've been super excited about and really interested in that has been given to us as like the promo for an expansion.
The variable dormant is really cool. Really fascinating. Also, I realized like while we were recording, there was Neralex and then this card. Dormant is the next evergreen keyword. They haven't reused like Echo. When Witch's Brew, it was not Echo, and they were like, "Why isn't this Echo?" Phase Talker wasn't Inspire, but I guess they were too embarrassed of Inspire to reuse it. But they're not embarrassed of Dormant, and Dormant has been reused now by 2 different cards in 2 different sets that will be in Standard when Ashes rotates out. So Dormant is a thing that if they want to use it, they have to actually use the name. You can't do copies each turn. I guess you could say Falls Asleep, but it's just Dormant. It'd be weird. So I'm glad that they're exploring the space of keywords like this, and it gives me the idea that maybe we'll see more Spellburst or more Frenzy in the future, that maybe they're more willing to revisit those mechanics if there are twists on them, and this is a cool twist. Discover how long he's asleep for and what he does when he wakes up. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, and I'm happy they're still doing Dormant. I'm really happy, considering my right cards consistently, for the love of God, rant earlier. Yeah, just keep calling it Dormant. We know what Dormant means, so I'm glad that that's what they're doing. And I'm with you, Joce. This is also just a cool card. Just a cool card. But all right, let's shift gears then, because that's all of the cards we've had a look at so far in United in Stormwind. But there was also a big fat patch that dropped last week after the announcement, and that means it's time to talk about some Battlegrounds. Let me dust off this bumper right here.
Have a good battle, friend.
Patch 20.8 is out, and it wasn't just to let you spend money and pre-order things. There was actually like really rad stuff in here for Battlegrounds, as well as, you know, Dungar, who we just talked about. There's so much. Oh, also crap, we didn't talk about phase 2. There's like a phase 2 to all of this, right? That isn't here yet.
Well, yeah, they talked about like phase 2 of the Year of the Phoenix. So it was basically like at some point between, you know, August 3rd or this part of the standard year, this is what we're doing. And so they're not available right this second, but they will be coming. And I don't think, especially when it comes to cosmetics, I don't think that this is going to be only a phase 2 thing, right? I think this is just the beginning of all of the awesome.
Yeah, we're finally getting cosmetics in Battlegrounds. That's coming on July 27th, is my understanding. We're getting new portraits, new bartenders, Tiki Rag. If you've been following me on Twitter, I'm obsessed with him.
I mean, who isn't? He's so hot.
There it is. There's
2 for 2.
And I mean, there's actually 2 bartenders, because there's one bartender, Venari from Shadowlands, in the pre-order mega bundle for Stormwind. I'm just gonna say Stormwind because I almost said Untied.
For the Alliance
honestly,
set.
guys, I will get it. By the end, I promise, I'll get it.
Yeah, there's a big summer beach theme to all of these skins. Didn't know Maya wore a one piece, but now we do.
I love so many of these. I love volleyball playing Millhouse. I love AFK just chilling on the beach. I mean, they're so good. Bolvar is making an appearance.
I do not want so Bolvar is like Grill Master Bolvar, I believe, was confirmed by Celestalon. He's like flipping a burger. I do not want Bolvar anywhere near my burger. I like my stuff medium rare, please. Bolvar's gonna overcook the hell out of it.
That is true. He is made of fire.
Yeah. Alex Straza, not a great burger cooker, as it would turn out.
Little bit well done.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited about this. I like Battlegrounds a lot, and I want to customize it, man. I want to pimp out my Battlegrounds. I want other people to know that I'm rocking Tiki Rag Bartender, though. Like,
Yeah, I guess people, you're the only one that's ever going to see that, right?
yeah,
But,
well, I guess that's what the hero portraits are for, right? It's like, hey, look at my
yeah.
swag. Yeah, that's rad.
And then,
But
I mean, if they see you as like bikini lounging AFK, then they just have to assume that you're also using Tiki Ragnaros, right? So
that's a good point. That's a good point. Can we? I'm friggin' Kael'thas, man. Hottest
oh my
new model
God.
Yeah.
or portrait. My goodness.
Yeah, the internet went thirsty for this one.
Yeah, I'm buying tickets to that Misfits cover band. That's what I'm doing.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean the Shadowlands ones are pretty well done too. They're all very Covenant related. If you guys haven't played Warcraft in Shadowlands, there's kind of like 4 different zones that each have their own feel and theme. So there's 2 for each one actually. There's Omu and Ysera for Ardenweald. There's not Uther George and Finley for Bastion, and then Revendreth gets Kael'thas and who's the other one?
Revendreth?
Is that Lich Queen?
It is Revendreth, but I don't know who the
Triss.
Battlegrounds hero is.
Triss.
Okay.
Tess?
Tess.
Who's Triss? Tess Fairbairn.
Yeah, and then
that's
I
who
guess
that is.
Patchwork and it's Margrave
Lich Queen,
somebody,
right?
and that's Lich Queen. Yeah, Baziel. Yeah. So, and those are both from Maldraxxus. So there's like 2 hero portraits from each of the 4 kind of themes. So there's like a nature theme, there's like a blood vampire theme, there's an oozy patchworky Stitches abomination theme place, and then there's a like angels and paladin-y light things in Bastion type themes. So I think it's really cool. It's I think I'm probably gonna buy both bundles. I mean, you have to have Tiki Rag. Like everyone needs to have Tiki Rag, and then that Kael'thas is just so good.
Yeah. And then they're going to be swapping out over 30 existing minions for new ones that they said are specifically designed to play around and off of the core fantasy of that minion type and re-emphasize minion types. They gave us some previews. I'm not going to dive deep into them now because we have a live patch to talk about. I'd rather talk about these more as we actually get there and get to play with these things. But we got previews of new pirates that do look much more pirate themed, a lot more about buying and getting gold and manipulating the Battlegrounds economy.
You can call them booty focused, I think.
Booty! I like it. This is a thirsty episode of The Angry Chicken. I am going to clutch pearls right now.
That's our secret, Garrett. We're always thirsty.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh, someone get me a
Also-
White Claw.
So, Liv talked about in an interview that basically this is what a standard rotation for Battlegrounds would look like and feel like. It's basically roughly that. And then
Ooh.
Alec, if you noted, there was a brief point in the video reveal where he said this is coming in patch 21.2. That's the 0.2 patch is usually when BG's gotten the big content drop, so this is that time. So it should be about a month after the patch releases. So probably Labor Day-ish, the first week of September, maybe last week of August, somewhere around there.
Enjoy that 3-day weekend.
I think this is a really, really good idea for them to do. I mean, just because Battlegrounds has been around long enough now that I think they have a very good idea of how they want the mode to play and how each tribe, now that they have quite a few of them, where each tribe should fall. And the fact that they rotate through with only 5 tribes per battleground, like it's much more defined, I think, than it was in the beginning where they were just like, what minions do we have in, not just standard, but wild? Like, what can we pull into this mode? What already exists in the game while we do our proof of concept? They're way beyond that now. So I think it's a really good idea to go back in, take some stuff out, put some new stuff in, really define those boundaries of what it means to play mechs and pirates and beasts and whatever, and kind of go from there. So I love the ones that they've released, or like the teases of the pirates here. I think they're on the right track, and I can't wait to see what else they have coming for us later in the summer.
Bring it on.
What percentage of remaining minions do you think will be constructed cards first that are staying in BGs? I would guess it's maybe 1 or 2 per tribe.
Yeah,
maximum.
not many.
Not.
I think they're kind of leaning more towards Battlegrounds being its own thing.
Man, every time I see conversation about that come up, I'm like, I don't care. Burn it all down. Make cool shit.
Yeah.
I don't need more Cold Light Seers in my life. They can go away. It's fine. We've played enough Cold Light Seers.
Yeah. It's just to do whatever makes a good game mode.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I want. That is exactly what I want. So I'm excited as hell about this. So, but let's talk about what we can play right now. We've got a Battleground update that went live last week, bringing in a new hero, Kurtrus Ashfallen. Let's just call him Kurt. Maybe, Russell for short. But very
Pliskin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've never seen those movies. Anyway, very interesting hero power here. Final Showdown is how we start with, and passive by 3 minions in 1 turn to give them +2/+2 and progress this. What is this? Oh, it's an escalating hero power. It's basically a quest line as a hero power.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next phase of Kurtrus's hero power is gain momentum, in which you have to buy 4 minions in 1 turn to give your hand and board +2/+2 and progress this. What are you progressing? Well, you're going to close the portal. That's the final round of Kurtrus's hero power. And you buy 5 minions in 1 turn to give all your minions this game +2/+2. This is not repeatable. I definitely messaged one Celestalon and asked, Kurtrus is bugged. What's going on? I can't get any more buffs. And he just goes, that's intended. We go, okay. Okay. And so it turns out working as intended. I've done well with Kurtrus so far. I've actually gotten him like 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think
no luck.
I think I got a first, a second, and a third. So I've hat tricked my Kurtrus, but I still I'm still sitting here going, I'm not sure he's good. Like this is such a funky hero power that like my brain hurts trying to min max getting the buff and also actually triggering this hero power. Because it's just so strange. It's just like you have to do very specific things to even be able to buy 4 or 5 minions in a single turn. 3 is very simple, simply wait. But if there's no pirates in the game, it's like, what am I doing? I don't have to sell the pirate to get 3 gold back. I can't get a Hogger in play. I can't cheat. Man, and none of my Kurtrus games had pirates in it, by the way. So I was having to just kind of buy and in some cases hold things just to have more fodder to sell to complete things, and it worked out. I had wonderful, beautiful, delightful power spikes, but my brain, my min-max brain hurts, and I just feel like, no, you're playing like a moron and getting lucky.
That's how I play Battlegrounds. That's base
Is that not how we win?
Strats. Yeah.
Oh. I think that's how we win.
Jeez, we'll never
call that tripling. We call that tripling, right?
Sorry, Celissa, we don't need to have you back on. We just cracked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and looking at top 20%, Kurt is one of the better heroes, but has a very low first place percentage. But this ability, how quickly you move the quest, it's definitely a top 4 hero. And I think it would be pretty easy to just get a big bunch of stats in the mid game a couple times, and then that's enough to get you to later in the game and into that top 4. And he seems pretty reliable at 3rds and 4ths.
Yeah, but you know who else we talk a lot about, and if you're not me, talk a lot of crap about, is Cthulhu, and Cthulhu also has really low first place representation.
Yeah, but Cthulhu is boring because you just press the button, and this is you get to do a bunch of stuff, and you get to buy a bunch of minions.
Yeah, you have to really think about it.
But you don't! I'm here telling you, I tried to think about it, I failed at thinking about it, and I still was just fine.
Been fine.
So I don't think you actually, I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to listen to smart Battlegrounds players crack this and figure out the proper kind of combos and econo strategies that you can pull off to really eke out early Kurtrus triggers. So, cool hero. Confusing hero. Hurts my brain just talking about it. And then we also, so this is also, by the way, Kurt is in early access. I always forget that this is a thing because I never don't have full Battlegrounds access, but it is a thing.
Right.
If you do not currently have Battlegrounds perks, Kurt is going live to everybody on July 15th. We also got a new minion, Archdruid Hamul, a new tier 6 minion. Hamul is a 4/4 with a battle cry that reads, refresh Bob's Tavern with your most common minion type. Hamul is really cool. This is a cool ass card.
He's really interesting, and I think what makes him so interesting is he's a tier 6 minion that you don't necessarily want to play right away.
Yes.
Well,
Which is better than a tier 6 minion that you just don't want to play.
Right. Yeah.
Which there are quite a few.
You need to hold him for the opportune moment.
it's something that you're okay with tripling into as anything except Menagerie, which is good. Menagerie can afford to get a little worse, and it already had the biggest pool of options that were relevant. It's decidedly not a whiff for almost anyone. Even in Menagerie, you can have a couple things and then get something relevant. But there are so many 6s that are just kind of I guess I will take my Exna, and then it's fine, kind of. But this actually makes your strategy better. It has a lot of cool payoffs with Bran. It has a lot of cool, if you're Jandis, this card is unbelievable. Really, really strong. And I don't know, I like what they've started to do with Faceless Tavern Goer and this card, in that it makes it easier for your cool thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to work for it, and you have to invest the gold, and you have to wait the time, and you have to be strong enough to get there. You have to be almost the cool thing and strong enough to survive. But if you do that, then you're almost guaranteeing that you get to see the cool cards that let you do the cool thing. Think about all the times that you've been beast and you had everything except the Goldrin. And this just makes so you can see the Goldrin.
Draft manipulation is really freaking cool in Battlegrounds.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're cheating. It feels like you're getting away with something.
But everyone's cheating, so it's fine.
No, I'm not complaining. This is all positives. It's good to make players feel like they're breaking the rules. Mm-hmm. You're getting to do something you typically otherwise do not get to do. There's no way to make Bob do this or Tiki Rag in the future because that's just going to permanently be my freaking bartender once I get there. But I love this so much. This is such great active play design, and I can't gush about this card enough.
Ixar said in the past that if everyone is complaining about one broken thing, it's a problem. But if everyone is talking about that the thing that they're doing is broken, and they're all talking about different things, you've done a great job as a game designer. And I think that this card is exactly like you said, Garrett. It makes everybody feel like they're cheating, but nobody really is.
Yeah. We're all just playing. This is just a new way to play Battlegrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And Hamul is not a minion type, so Hamul is always going to be hanging out with you.
He's always there, yeah.
You will always be holding Hamul. Hold Hamul close until it's time to get more of whatever it is you're trying to build.
The thirsty chicken.
And if it's a Menagerie comp, I'm going to wait until I have one other Murloc to eke it out in poison favor. That's what I'm going to be doing. Maybe. Actually, probably Quillbore. Anyway.
Just roll into Amalgadon. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Lich King is back. He has been debugged. Lich King is no longer totally freaking busted, so you can play Lich King again. Shudderwalk has been temporarily removed. Good. Shudderwalk stinks. And then we just had an absolute ton of hero changes. We are not going to talk about all of them today because we knew we were going to have a lengthy card reveal discussion, but we are going to talk about some of our personal favorites, starting with Trade Prince Gallywix. I marked this one because Smart Savings has been changed. It used to be that the hero power on Gallywix was you pay 1 gold, you add a gold coin to your hand. The new one is passive. After you sell a minion, you get 1 extra gold next turn, and you can exceed 10. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty.
You want to talk about head scratching, brain hurting, max IQ heroes. I hate to say it, but Gallywix is max IQ.
All right.
I
Here's
hate
the plan.
thinking about my next turn, though.
Okay, you don't have to think about it. Here's the plan. All right, I've got a 3-part plan. Step 1, play Pirates. Step 2, get Hogger. Step 3, rope out with more than 10 gold left every turn for the rest of the game.
That
That is the conclusion,
Honestly,
my friend.
that is what I always do when I'm playing pirates and have Augur, is I always rope out with too much gold.
Now imagine you can rope out with 25 gold left.
Oh my god.
Can someone
It's
please
too much pressure.
please wander over to Salissa's stream and tell her we are all waiting impatiently for her YouTube clip where she gets that exact amalgamation of stuff in a game of Battlegrounds.
Oh, yes.
Want to see how that works, please and thank you. Joce, who you want to talk about?
So I wanted to just quickly point out just a couple ones. Maev got worse, which is good. So now you have to wait 3 turns to get your dormant minions, which is awesome. She clogs up her tavern now if you're using the hero power every turn. So I think this is really good. She needed a nerf. So I was really happy about this one. Dino Tamer Bran is back, which is kind of nuts. He's totally different now. So after
Wait, did Dino Tamer Bran leave?
Yes.
A while ago. He was completely busted about a year-ish ago when he was, after every battle cry you play, give a random minion +1/+1. Super busted. But a long time ago, like way back, one of the original expansion heroes to BG's during DOD, I think? It was during DOD. Saviors or DOD. It was when they added all of the explorers.
Yeah.
So maybe that was Saviors. Yeah.
So now after you buy 5 Battlecry minions, you just get a Bran. Once per game, you just get Bran.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is
all right.
Really crazy. So you could get this super early and then just have double battle cries the whole game. I mean, yeah, this is crazy.
But that's interesting. How's he doing? Because Bran is kind of booty now.
Yeah, Bran has been kind of extremes, right? Like all the way at the top and broken, all the way at the bottom and busted.
Yeah. Okay. So
I've played with New Bran a few times.
New Bran is not doing great.
He is glorious bait, but boy, is this not good enough. It is absolutely not good enough. No.
Yeah, Bran is low.
Yeah. I have gotten a
They'll
really
get him
fast
right
Bran.
eventually.
I've taken my screenshots on 7 goal with the Bran in play, and then I get 5th every time.
Wow. All right. Well,
I'm already saying
forget about Bran then.
Just go ahead and drop that to 4 Battlecry minions. Do it. Don't even think about it. Don't even worry about it. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, very much so. And then finally, I wanted to mention Syndragosa because her power is really cool. So it's now targetable. So it's 0 mana and you can freeze 1 minion in Bob's Tavern, but it still has that text of frozen minions get +2/+1 every turn. So you now have this like really interesting choice where you can decide to say, I just want a buff on this one thing, and you don't lose your tavern roll then. Or you can freeze your whole tavern if everything's good and you want everything to get buffed, and then you get the buff across the board still. So it's like it didn't take away her base like power. It just added the option to target it so that you could still get a reroll on everything else. So she's, I think, a lot better than her previous iteration. And I think it's a really interesting like decision point for players now.
Yeah, she does also not seem to be doing particularly great, better than Bran. But also, I think this is a lot harder. I think we're going to need some time with this one to learn some tricks and learn some priorities in utilizing the hero power. This is wicked cool design.
It is, and it's like even if you don't care.
It's cool. It's frozen.
I was wondering if you were
get out. Just stop. Oh my!
Make that joke. But yeah, even if you don't necessarily care about the +2/+1 buff, you still just having a targeted freeze, I think, is really interesting design. So I like her rework, and I think that she's going to get better over time as we kind of figure out the best way to use her.
Well, the minions she's freezing gets better over time because she's freezing and waiting.
That is also true.
Syndragosa, the fine wine of Battlegrounds heroes.
Yep.
Although if your wine looks like Syndragosa, I think you let it sit too long. Guff, Rune Totem I wanted to mention because he was nerfed because he's too good. I'm mad because I said he wasn't going to be particularly great, and Yeah,
It's okay, Garrett.
He's quite good. I haven't looked at stats. How's he? Oh, he has fallen. Ooh, buddy.
He's still pretty good, but because I'm looking in the last 7 days, and it's showing. Oh, I guess I should look.
Yeah, go by most recent patch because he is now below Sourfang. Ysera Bigglesworth is above Guff post patch.
In top 20%, I don't think there's enough data for him yet, but yeah, they made him.
Yeah, I'm looking at top 50.
Yeah, there he is. He's at the bottom of tier 3. Yikes.
Yeah. Guff.
How the mighty have fallen. It's kind of crazy how just like a change. So he went from +2/+1 to +1/+1, and just that change in one attack made a really big difference to his win rate. That's kind of crazy.
Yep. Though if you think about it, it's not that they reduced it by 1; it's that they cut his attack buff in half, and that's a huge deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's a lot. It is a lot. And Hat, do you want to talk about Muckla for real, or are you memeing?
I want to talk about him for real.
Where did
because
Muckla go? Why can't I find Muckla?
Because they didn't actually put his.
No, they didn't.
Oh, that's how not excited
they couldn't show
even
the
the
picture.
team
This
is
is a
about
family
Muckla.
website. So yeah, it's they increased the rate of the big banana up from 33% to 50%. So I just wanted to talk about the increased growth potential of the banana.
It's on brand for today.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
of course I was memeing, but he's better now.
He is better now.
I just want to talk about the big banana. Don't we all?
King Muckla over on Into the Nexus. We have a joke because Kyle and I go all the way back to StarCraft days, and there was a time where Bunker was in like every StarCraft balance patch. Like they messed with Bunker, I think more than 7 times. It was absurd how many times they adjusted Bunker, like health, build time, load time of Marines, and it was so silly. They just couldn't stop, and that's how I feel about King Muckla. They just can't stop messing with a mediocre hero power.
They just can't stop monkeying around with him.
They can't. He is an ape, sir. He's an ape.
The phrase monkey it has 2 meanings. And
All that being said, doing well. Muckla is getting up there. He is within spitting distance of Lich King and Rag and Alkir and George. It's llamas, not apes that spit, by the way, so that's not a good joke. He's within something else throwing distance of those heroes I just mentioned.
I know what you mean, Garrett.
Yep. And then we got a bunch of minion changes. Deflecto is better than before. +1 attack going up to +2 attack every time you summon a minion or a mech. Lieutenant Gar.
I like how they gave Gar 7 more health and you're just going to skip him. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because I don't think it actually matters that much. But boy, Gar was so bad. What, didn't they print him at a 5/1?
I think originally,
So yes, Gar was garbage.
He's always had 1 health. Yeah. So this
Gar
is
brought an extra.
Wait, hold on.
Garbage.
Can we appreciate garbage? Can we stop and appreciate that for a second, Garrett? I'm proud of you. That was good.
Listen, if there's one thing I know, it's names with 2 R's that start with G.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You might actually see. You might not actually hate life when you pick Gar now, which is good. I love that they buffed Refreshing Anomaly. Got an extra health. It's now a 1/4.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's not what I need you for, buddy.
It's refreshing.
Yeah. No, I just want the effect. I don't care what he's leaving behind.
Hey, if you play that turn 1 now, you beat a scallywag. Take that, scallywag.
Yeah, you see a lot of just the bad minions getting a lot better. Big Fernal going from a 4/4 to a 6/6. Yeah, Big Fernal needed to be bigger from the get-go. Razor Gore, same thing, was a 2/4, now a 4/6. That minion just took too long to get going. Pack Leader getting buffed up to a 3/4. Woo! Mama Bear getting unnerfed, going back to a 5/5 that gives +5/+5. I want token beasts back. I want them back.
It's about time.
Yeah, but not going back to 6-tier minion. Still a 5-tier minion. So you remember,
5s all around.
Mama Bear's been messed with a
5
lot.
by 5.
Yeah. Yeah, Soul Juggler getting 2 extra health, going up to a 3-5. I'm actually mad about the one. I'm so sick of losing Soul Juggler comps in mid-game. Like, oh, good for you. You did a bunch of damage to me, and then you're going to die in 7th place, but I'm going to die in 5th because you did damage to me. It's like people running at me with a charged grenade in Halo. I'm so mad at you.
We unearthed a very specific memory there somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, for a wider audience, it's like when my jerk-off roommate would grab me as Donkey Kong and just jump off the stage. That's a Soul Juggler comp. You're going to die early, but the people you face in the mid-game are going to die not in the top 4 because of your actions. It makes me mad.
It's basically King Mukla, you know.
Do you want to get a room with the monkey? You're really into the monkey and his big banana.
It wouldn't be my room, it'd be his room. He's the king.
I've seen King Mukla. He's not in a room. Standing out in the open.
It's a tree fort, Garrett.
We have very different definitions of what consists of a room then, I guess.
So anyways, also, in 25% of games, Garrett, what happens?
What happens? Oh, Darkmoon prizes. Yeah, they're back. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Boy, was I in a dry spell. I think like my first 7 games back, nothing. I was like, are they really back? Are they back? And then I got
I talked to a friend of mine who
in a
went
row.
3 for 3, and then I had none for the first bunch of games too. But playing with them again, it's fun until I get blown out by them, and then I'm like, 25%'s about right.
Yeah, it's nice that they're not everywhere, and it's nice that they made a couple of little changes, and we don't have to talk about the changes, guys. If you want to see everything, it's all in the blog post. They've got a fancy graphic that Garrett is showing right now.
One I want to talk about, and that is Might of Stormwind. Okay. Might of Stormwind was just the king of Tier 1 Darkmoon prizes, and they have nerfed it substantially by making it, instead of board wide, to give 3 random friendly minions +1/+1. And I think it's a very smart change that needed to happen. But also, I'm very excited about playing my board to minimize randomness as if it's constructed Hearthstone in a game of Battlegrounds, something I am not used to doing.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. It struck me in a way I didn't expect when I actually finally hit a prize game and was offered Might of Stormwind. I was like, oh, hey, I care about sequencing in my Battlegrounds game, which there's a few other times you do. But I was going into a turn where I could have more than 3 minions on my board, and had to think about it for a second. I really like that.
Thinking good.
Thinking is good. Thinking is good. So that's all we're going to talk about for 20.8 for right now. There's so much to talk about today. It's going to be so much to talk about in the future. But that's where we're going to end it for today's episode. Expect Q&A light episodes as we march toward the release of United in Stormwind. We're probably going to have very thick ones. We're going to have very big bananas, and there's just not going to be enough time to do Q&A. But don't stop writing in, because we will probably hit a drought and do a mailbag episode immediately upon the end of all of this. So if you want to do so, tacpodcast@gmail.com is the place to go. And patrons, hit us up in that patron Discord, and we'll just talk to you in real time. We'll have a chat. Let's talk about Hearthstone in there. Don't be afraid to add us if you have a thought, a question, or a comment that you think pertains to one of our interests or areas of expertise. Hats is bananas. So if you have a question about bananas,
apparently,
tag
and
at RidiculousHat.
And also the impacts of ubiquitous weapon tech on standard metagames.
Yes.
Really,
yes.
just like
mostly
those are
bananas.
they're kind of like perpendicular subject fields. I won't demonstrate.
Yeah, be careful how much emphasis you put on the dick and in perpendicular. But thank you again to our patrons. If you want to become a patron, if you like what we're doing here, especially on our innuendo-laden episodes, and you want to thank us for our bad behavior, head on over to patreon.com/TAC and let us know that you want us to make more off-color jokes, and we will. Any patrons that happen between now and next Monday, I'm going to take that as people saying, we want more wiener jokes. I just want you to know. That's how I'm going to take it. So Otherwise, huge thanks to our producers, Declan H, Cheesy Bob, and Jeffrey D. If you want to be a producer, we have a few slots left. Check out patreon.com/TAC, and we really, really do thank our producers for their generous support of our podcast. If you want to check out the back catalog of Angry Chicken episodes, maybe you missed an episode recently, you want to go back and check it out, go to theangrychicken.com, or just go subscribe on your favorite podcatcher. I know you can stream us, but it's still like subscribing. You get the show automatically. Even if you don't listen for a little while, those numbers help. Those numbers help us get sponsors. It's the circle of podcast life. That's how it works. So around the table, around the circle of this podcast, starting with Jocelyn, where can folks find you when you're not tacking?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joce Plays. We played some Sea of Thieves last week and did some of the Pirates of the Caribbean content. So thank you guys who stuck around on Monday night to watch that stream. It was a lot of fun, and I am going to try to do a little bit of streaming here and there whenever I can. I had a really good time last week. So again, if you do want to follow me over on Twitch, it's at Joce Plays, Joce Plays. I'll see you guys there.
We need to work on your selling. It's not every now and then. We're going to do special events that are off, irregular and special and amazing. And if you aren't subscribed to Joce Plays on Twitch, you could miss it.
You could miss it because, yeah, okay, I like that marketing. Garrett,
do you want to miss more booty jokes?
My hype man.
Yeah, you're playing Sea of Thieves. If there's more, I can't think of more reason for more booty jokes. Oh, yeah. Come on. All right, Hat. Where can folks find you?
Twitter.com/RidiculousHat. That's the way to go. Also, RidiculousHat.com now redirects to Twitter.com/RidiculousHat. Thank you, Giswold.
You go to RidiculousHat.com!
That's thanks to Giswold, not thanks to me. I have to still do stuff to get the domain under my control, but in the meantime, it just redirects to my Twitter, which is where I want people to go anyways. For some reason, we recently hit 69 followers, which was a very nice day. Yeah, very exciting. I also do 2 other Hearthstone podcasts, Coin Conceit and Vicious Syndicate. CoinConceit.com, ViciousSyndicate.com. You can listen to me there. You can listen to me here. You can listen to me anywhere. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm Garrett Art on Twitter, Garrett, 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett. I trust you know how to spell art. Everything else, this podcast included, can be found at amove.tv. We got to interview the new balance designer for Heroes of the Storm on my Heroes of the Storm podcast, Into the Nexus. So go subscribe to Into the Nexus wherever you get your podcasts. Hell, if you go to the listing for the Angry Chicken, it'll probably pop up and go, listeners to this podcast also like, and it probably has a little Into the Nexus right there. At least it did the last time I checked. Now I'm going to go there and see just a bunch of patch shows and be like, oh, damn, that's a bad way to advertise the show. I'm going to stop doing that. But yeah, check that out. And I am about to have a long period of time off of this show. I will be back next week, but I'm doing an actual like proper vacation. It's going to be nice. I'm going to take some time off, which means I am not currently taking graphic design and other art commissions. But when I get back, I'm going to have a window where I'm going to have a lot of free time. So go to nomoonart.com. Check it out if you need some graphic design done, and contact me there. I have a contact form there if you need something with a early August due date. Let's put it that way. I'm taking some jobs for early August, and just to toot my own horn, I may have just designed the podcast album art for the #1 trending podcast on Pocket Cast for 3 weeks straight. So, and I'm not.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my friend Brian Brushwood going, hey, you want to do an album cover? And me going, yeah, sure. Why not? And then me going to Pocket Cast one day, going to trending and going, holy shit, the thing I made in Photoshop is there. So yeah, congrats to those guys. Go listen to World's Greatest Con. Not getting a kickback on that. I'm just really happy for those guys. They did a lot of work and it's paying off. So anyways, that's going to do it.
Listeners, if you listened closely, you should realize that Garrett said sponsor his vacation. And I think that would be a lovely thing.
But what? No, I still got to come back.
Vacation.
I still got to come back from vacation and work.
You're going to come back. Well, yeah, on the things that they sign up for in No Moon Art.
And do work. Yes. Yeah, I mean, if they want to pay me to go on vacation, they can do that. But I'm asking you to make me work for money. That's what I'm asking. I'm confused now. This got weird. See you next week, everybody. Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
That's a show.
Hey.
Only slightly
if my
over
audio
2
files
hours.
are any indication, it's 2 half shows. All right, so I guess, Garrett, you need to send me your file so I can stitch them together.
Exporting as we speak. You still have access to that Dropbox, yes?
I do.
Do you see a folder called TAC 2 or 423?
I guess we'll find out.
Under the recording folder?
Let's see. I'm gonna get to the recording folder here. Okay, I see recordings. Tag 423. Yes. It is
Just
empty.
keep it there. Exporting part 2 at the moment, then I'll export part 1, and there'll be 2 WAV files there. Whatever you need to do. Anyway, chat room, you've been amazing. Thank you for all the corrections and also confusing me on who the hell Tess is, because I thought it was Triss. But that's cool too.
I was like, I've never heard that name before, ever.
Hey, Sphinx 1906, thanks for that subscription. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Sphinx. Really appreciate it. All the way back in 1906. It took a long time for that notification to pop up. Well, chat room, thank you again. Gonna bring it down now.